Okay, so that brings us to session number 93, or as it is, Phase 3, Season 1, Episode 4. Tonight we have quite a few people online, which is good to see. So we'll start with, we have Jeremy.
Good evening all. Yes, I'm playing Karameikos, the Keldaran, born of peasant stock, but has started to grow into his destiny as the descendant of Halad and other notable personalities that shall remain nameless at the present time. But despite the greatness that's obviously innate within him, he maintains his humility from his peasant beginnings.
I'm sure someone will believe that one of these days. Next up we have is Mark.
Hello, I'm playing Bradshaw, the Dwarven Weapon Master Specialist. Also, general nice guy to any melee fighters in the group, which includes everyone but Jeremy. Just thought I'd point that out. Yes, I'm after slaying many ghouls without even taking any damage at all, I think. I'm feeling quite, I think that Tarrasque is ready to get taken down. That's all. So, just putting it out there. If we mentioned Tarrasque earlier, I'm going to mention Tarrasque again. So I'm preparing to roll a new character after that. But yeah, so Brett was quite eager to see what's next, because he said, if that's all I can throw at us, he can do better than that. So.
And the GM says, challenge accepted.
I knew you would.
Next up we have is Dominic.
Howdy. My character's name is Peridiv. Is a human paladin of the sort of Norse pantheon, worshipping Thor and Odin, etc. He is a pretty stereotypical paladin. He doesn't go looking for a fight. But when a fight comes to him, he's generally more interested in protecting his comrades than destroying everything in sight. Although he'll occasionally go in for a good destroy everything in sight. And that's just about that, I think. He's currently got a interesting relationship with I always forget whether it's kobolds or gnolls. One of them, and he can never quite decide whether he wants to track them down and sort of make peace with them or avoid them at all costs.
And the GM remind you it's kobolds, but you're welcome to say gnolls as many times as you like.
I'll have to write that down, actually.
I was just thinking of the fact that that's part of the point Legion. You've got a very curious relationship. You can't actually work out whether they're 4 foot tall or 7 foot tall.
Okay, so you did say it was kobolds, didn't you?
I did say it's kobolds.
Great, okay.
But I also said you're welcome to say gnolls as many times as you like.
I actually have already written it down. Anyway, I'm a little bit concerned that it's gonna if I keep this up for much longer, the other people in the party are gonna start being under the assumption that maybe my character's a bit racist, but not only racist, but it's really stupid because you can't tell the difference between two quite clearly hugely different size-wise races.
Well, they're not human; they all look alike to you.
But I'm not racist.
I think everyone in the party who's not human. Oops.
Oh, Dimitri's human, but
dwarves for kobolds, I'm gonna have words here. Okay.
No, you're definitely wide enough that I can't mistake you for a kobold. That's okay.
So Dimitri is human, but you could always say he's not just for the sake of expediency.
Well, no. Dimitri's more than human.
Oh, he's transcended. He's as annoying as 3 humans.
Only 3, he feels insulted. Then that brings us to Martin.
So I'm playing a wood elf. So kind of the path of the Fae, but he does have a background as an urchin, and something to do with energy too. I don't know how that has a bearing on anything, but we'll see.
It will come into play when my hands have more time to work.
That's right. So he's a level 11 monk, and he's on the path of the Kenzai.
And he totally didn't used to be a halfling.
That's right.
Well, he said he had a background as an urchin.
But that background was a merchant, not an urchin.
An urchin.
Merchant.
No, urchin. You are CHIN.
But didn't a halfling used to be a previous merchant?
No.
And even so,
He's retained the same background.
Okay.
it wouldn't matter anyway, because even the halfling was a merchant, still an urchin.
No racism there whatsoever. So last session we had you had arrived to the bad magic point known as Dragon Tree, which I'm sure Bradshaw believes doesn't exist. You had gone through a few villages and towns along the way and found out that that settlement used to be called the city of Phlosoros, or at least township of Phlosoros. City might have been a bit of a stretch because it was on the edge of a bogland. And then the trees grew up very quickly, and it turned into a place of nightmares and horrors. Now, you had decided that of all the possible things you could go off and do, saving some innocent lives might have actually been one of the best uses of your time, because you do have a paladin with you, and paladins are very good at making people do things.
Well, no, more the idea that, hey,
Are you suggesting I can script everyone into this?
Yes.
interesting history of the place.
Yep.
Excellent.
And I thought it was
You'll
brilliant.
become better people.
Reluctantly. But
It's all right.
so I've got a neutral alignment, so it could go either way.
Well, neutral doesn't mean good or evil, because the alignments are either lawful, neutral, or chaotic. So lawful being you have a strict set of rules you go by, neutral meaning you have guidelines, and chaos being more along the lines of you do what is needed, rarely following rules.
Cool.
So,
Or you can be Dimitri.
What is he?
He just does whatever he thinks he wants to do because he doesn't care about anything else. Yeah. Pretty much.
Is
But
he
always,
really?
Yeah.
always for the right reasons.
Chaotic is just is a very loose term for it. Like, there's other words like starts with A, ends with whole, things like that. Sorry, I have to keep on the Dimitri hatred line. So one day I'll actually like Dimitri. I don't know when it'll happen. When that happens, my character might pass away. So
Obviously, Dimitri did something wrong there.
he saved him.
they definitely. It's when I find that hammer that we threw away the first time, and Dimitri goes, "Oh, there you go. You got it back now."
But you
Yeah,
did
yeah.
get it back. It was a gift from your wife. Unless you've lost it already.
He threw it away again immediately. You lost it.
No. I thought it was still the orcs last we spoke.
And I did remind you last time that you had gotten it back again. I didn't add to the point that it was given to you by your wife as a gift. But
Okay.
if you'd like to have lost it again, that's completely up to you.
No. I definitely have it again. I have never lose anything my wife would give me.
He threw it away.
I do have it, but just not on me right now. In the castle, locked in a big safe, and no one can get into it. Except my wife. She has the other key.
Including yourself.
Possibly too.
Obviously, they know you well. So
She knows me well, yeah. Carry on.
After finding your way to this place, it was getting dark. You come across a old chapel which you were investigating. It seemed to be dedicated to the five spheres. And while doing so, Dimitri was examining the gravestones because some of them had crumbled recently and some of them had not. And
out the fact that the apparently the ones we met on our way to the forest were probably the gravestones that crumbled. Now there's a lot more crumbled gravestones.
And Dimitri found a gravestone that was actually a door. And that's where we ended that session, where Parative had gone inside the chapel and was going downstairs to where the sleeping chambers were. So what Parative missed out on was, while Dimitri was looking at this hole in the earth, considering going down into it, 50-odd ghouls were rushing towards him, screaming out. And Parative slept through it all, having one of the nicest sleeps he'd ever had, because he felt safe and assured. So if there was any real trouble, the party would wake him and let him know.
Exactly.
That's correct.
So there wasn't any real trouble. Fantastic.
Oh, I know where we left this off. Damn it.
There was 50. There was 50 ghouls, weren't there?
There were 50 ghouls, yes.
Yeah, this is gonna be the first challenge. This is gonna be me. I have a feeling based on that last session.
And if others hadn't interrupted, they would have all been gone in a blink of an eye.
And so
Yeah,
Parative
That's what you say.
So Parative wakes up and steps out of the room, and he's watching a dwarf washing his armor in the sacred font.
Is that before I went and watch? I have a feeling.
That was during you were on watch. You decided to come back and clean some stuff.
Didn't I have a rafter issue upstairs?
You did, but I'm sure that was just a dream.
Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah. So I'm using the water out of the well and wash my armor, getting all the X off it. I look over and go, oh, good to see you awake now. You missed all the fun.
I yawn and I say, oh, what happened? Other than me having an excellent snooze.
Dimitri's probably asleep right now, which is a good time. I say, Dimitri woke up 50 ghouls, and it's all Dimitri's fault. But we got rid of them, thanks to everyone.
As long as he didn't wake me up, that's fine.
Well, no, you seem we came down, you seemed in a good sleep, so we didn't want to disturb you. So
I appreciate that.
that's okay. I'm sorry, we've just been, how's the word for it? Using this lovely well up here just to, we've been on the stinky side after the ghoul attack, so I think we just had to wash a few things.
That makes sense. Sometimes the stench of evil lingers. I understand.
I will not say whether the monk dived into the pool or not. I do not know that. I didn't see it. I don't know if it's true or not. I'll let Dimitri explain.
Well, I was shooting them, so I kept my distance.
Yeah, but you did jump into the well. That's a whole lot, remember? So, to wash yourself. Or was it Dimitri did that? I can't remember who did it. Definitely wasn't the dwarf.
Dimitri was having a sponge bath, and yes, he was commented on the elf choice.
Is this But this is merely a well, right? It's not.
Well, it's
sacred.
dedicated to the 5 elements.
This is the sacred font that's in the basement of the church. It's dedicated to the 5 elements.
Is that actually what it is?
Yeah.
This is what.
Oh.
Well, I don't know that because I don't believe in this in that kind of stuff as much.
Oh, no, the reason I ask is like,
Dimitri knows more about it than I do. I think it's just a well, personally. Yeah.
Well, I kind of assumed that it would be merely because, like how do they get water to drink unless they're just drinking holy water all the time?
No.
I don't know if they need water.
No, I'm not talking about the ghouls. I mean, like, maybe there was a time when where the chapel wasn't really a barracks for an army of ghouls.
When it was Soothus or whatever the name was.
Well, you don't think any ghouls actually came down here because this place doesn't smell of undead. But the sacred font there probably has something to do with it.
I see. Alright, well, do we? Is there anything you guys suggest that we need to continue investigating with those ghouls, or do you think that whole situation has solved itself?
I think it has. I think we've looked around here. Captain Razzle, our little dragon, can buddies upstairs look reading stuff, I believe.
Maybe we can ask him what we do next.
Well, I got the usual short answer, so I just try to go away from the intellectual types. That's Dimitri's up there too. So, but I was on watch, and there was nothing much happening really. So,
I got the decks. All right. Well, yeah, I'll just take it that that virtually everything that needs to be investigated here at the chapel's just more or less been investigated. So do we continue on our way? Do we keep heading in the direction that we think we need to go in to get to the castle for the real ones?
Gonna say, when you come upstairs to potentially find out what Drazzle and Dimitri have been discussing, and probably
Torella.
Well, I think I think it
It's got two different spelling.
but yeah, so whether Drellick up there too, presumably, because he wasn't necessarily involved in the conversation with the dwarf downstairs and the so when you get upstairs, the had a nice nap, obviously, good.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Paladin and Styron work.
Yes.
Now
that it's light, it might be worthwhile confirming the fact that the 50 unfortunate undead that were removed last night were in fact the residents, based upon the fact of the tombstones that were in relatively pristine shape until the death of the inhabitant, or the final death of the inhabitant, and they crumbled to dust, having suddenly hit all the years upon them. But it could be interesting to at least examine the passageway that was reopened up in the graveyard. So.
Yeah, the underground area where the ghouls were. I mean,
the ghouls all came from town. Ghouls did not come from underground.
Oh, okay.
So Dimitri's happy if the others are after having breakfast and things like that. Happy to show the others the entranceway that he discovered.
Yep.
And he will then also just take another bit of a look around the graveyard just to confirm that yep, apparently 50 more of the gravestones have been demolished, and get an indication as to how many are still left, which will require some significant investigation over by the tree that had the statue in the tree, to look for other bits and pieces around there that might be sparkly and the remnants of dwarven engineering.
Yes, Bradshaw's jewellery is still there.
That's right.
Or at least the remains of them after he did turn them into a pulley system.
Didn't try and pick them all up, or not?
Yeah.
Trellin did not.
Okay. That's right.
So while
I will ignore any barbs from a certain Dimitri, and I'll have a look around the graveyard. Try not to touch anything.
Dimitri was quite happy to encourage the three of you to have a look around the big opening that's available there. Yep. So when you're ready to get down there, and I'll be with you.
There is freshly disturbed earth all over the graveyard.
So what is the cause for Dimitri's delay?
He's just doing an investigation on getting an indication as to how many gravestones are still up here. So therefore, we've got an idea of how many ghouls we might still face in town, potentially. But the real reason for the delay is to gather up the jewellery and gems that Bradshaw left behind.
Okay.
I've got a bit of a question. When you say in town, is town our destination?
Yes. Well, we believe it is.
Yeah.
This chapel is on the outskirts of the old town.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, you rarely bury your dead in the centre of town.
Yeah. I guess what I'm curious about is, and I mean, maybe this goes without saying, but it's like, what has caused the inhabitants of the graveyard to become ghoulified?
Well,
And maybe we'll find that out.
exactly. But if you ask Dimitri, and obviously he'll provide you the answer.
An answer. Yeah.
Most likely when a mummy ghoul meets a daddy ghoul.
You hear about 20 different sighs from Bradshaw at different times when Dimitri talks. So I'm looking around the graveyard. I'm not even listening to Dimitri now. I'll give it up. So yeah.
What, you're not looking down the hole?
No, because you got to go down there first. That's what Bradshaw thinks.
Is he ignoring the hole?
No, he won't go down there first. I'll go down there first. Don't you worry about that.
Well, if you go down there, I'll follow you. But I'd like the person who found it to go down there, because instead of being the words, he is like a gnome.
He's a ranged attacker, so let's not
Yes,
force him down there in advance of us.
Oh, you want me to force him down there? You grab one arm, I'll grab the other arm.
No, I don't want to do that.
The oddity, of course, is Bradshaw's memory on the fact that in the early adventures we had, Dimitri was frontline with Bradshaw.
I do remember this, don't worry.
That, and apparently Bradshaw's afraid to go underground.
Bradshaw's
I didn't say Bradshaw's afraid to go underground. You make assumptions there, DM.
Well, you want someone else to go first.
Yeah.
No, I wanted somebody to open the door here. I'm on the assumption he let 50 ghouls out, because I don't know any different right now.
Well, except for the ghouls came from town.
Well, I don't know that. 'Cause all that came out was the ghouls around the face, and I assume you let them out. So,
So
okay.
the ghouls were all coming from elsewhere, and you know exactly which direction they came from. Because
Oh, I know, but I thought you ran around in circles first. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay.
You had us run in front of Dimitri.
Oh, now you told the true story. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Get in the way.
Yeah.
The foreplay of this of you guys is starting to wear thin on the paladin, and I jumped in the hole.
That's a fair call. I'll give you that one too.
Okay, so the paladin gets to make a athletics check as you don't see the bottom coming up.
I was going to say, did you actually look at all of what you were looking at, jumping down?
Mate, he wasn't interested in hanging around any longer. He needed to get out of there, and jumping down a hole was the fastest way to leave.
That's why Dimitri is given the opportunity to take a look, because he'd gone off to do other things.
Okay, my check is 10.
10. Okay, so
Down the bottom, eventually.
so there's a very loud crack as you hit the ground, taking 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Fantastic.
Because the ground came up faster than you expected, because you can't see the ground, and you can't even see around you.
Alright, if no one else arrives anytime soon, I cast
Well, I'll
daylight.
jump down, but I'll use my slow ability to reduce the damage by 55 points.
Okay, so do you make any noise when you go down?
No, preferably not.
Okay. So, yes, you're standing down in the hole by yourself as the paladin parity. You cast daylight?
No, I can't cast that.
No,
I can use dark
He
vision.
came the paladin. He came the paladin.
Oh, okay.
Thinking that he's still alone. Because Paladin didn't make any noise.
That was the last thing he said he was going to do before you said you would jump down. I was just trying to see if you were giving any indication that you'd come down, but as an elf and your fault.
I can make a noise to say, yes, I am here.
Okay, so Parity hears that almost in his ear out of the darkness.
While this is happening, I see Paladin go, whoop. And
No, you don't even see the paladin at all, or the elf.
even my light vision, or
No, because the image from above, which I gave you plenty of time to look at before people did stuff, was the fact that the pit opened up, it went a couple feet visibly, but then it was totally blackness, as if a darkness spell or effect similar was at the bottom of the pit, which is why it made it impossible to see how deep it was. If someone had asked, Dimitri would have said, oh, it's about 10 to 15 feet deep, because he'd already tested it last night. So,
okay.
But yeah, that's it. Before he had a chance to go further, there was an interruption from the local inhabitants. So.
And luckily he had a paladin willing to test it for him without any information, and then followed on by a elf.
Because he'd run it, the rope that he had prepared for it, he had to pick up again because the gravestone that he tied around to actually climb down had crumbled, so had to wait for a new one. He was planning on using a paladin in the morning as the stopping point, but hey. A secure point at the bottom is almost as good as a secure point at the top. So.
Yes, so Bradshaw looks down and sees darkness.
Okay.
Oh, how you guys going down there?
Okay.
Got enough space?
You're okay? Good? I can't hear anything. Is that good?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, I am.
Yeah, but have you got enough space down there?
I have.
You sure?
How much space?
All right, let me walk it out for you.
Okay. I wait 10 seconds, man.
Okay, so as you go to do something, what does Bradshaw do?
See, Bradshaw had a look at his items. He's got his clan shield, which is good when I'm underground, not good to get to the underground. See, if I don't hear anything if I don't hear how big it is downstairs in 10 seconds, I go, I'm not sure. What's a word for jump down the hole for the dwarf that's not Geronimo?
Kamikaze?
Ready or not, here I come.
By Kagya?
I'm still thinking, bear with me. I'm going to give him 10 seconds here. Watch out below!
10 seconds passes very quickly.
Yeah, I know. I said, watch out below!
Okay, so we will
and then you jump down doing a bomb into the water?
With my shield facing down, so sorry if I hurt somebody. I do apologise right now.
So Bradshaw gets to make a athletics roll as you jump down the hole.
I will use the website too.
So just confirming, Martin, now that it's daylight, yes, the appearance of the hole is still the same as what Dimitri saw last night.
It is, but daylight is very dim light.
Okay, so it's still quite dim around. Yep. Fair enough.
The dark places don't, the bad magic points don't actually get bright sunlight.
Fair enough.
That's 18.
18. Okay, so you managed to land with a thud on the ground. I will give our paladin and our monk a reflex dexterity saving throw to avoid a falling dwarf.
Because apparently you didn't have far to run, or move, or wander.
19.
I got 21.
Okay, so you hear the sound of something whistling, step to the side, and then a thud between you.
Okay. Oh, join the party.
As Trellin is able to feel what appears to be a man lying on a table.
Is that Bradshaw?
No, Bradshaw's not really a man.
And I'm assuming it was off to the side, otherwise the table wouldn't still be upright after a paladin and a dwarf both jumped down on top of it. So I'm assuming the table's off to the side.
It is off to the side.
Okay.
Now,
So the idea being that obviously it is more space than a 7 foot by 3 foot hole.
I'll yell up to Dimitri. Do you want to tie a rope off a tree there and come down?
You look around, there are no trees nearby. Not that you can actually drop a rope down from.
However, there should be a couple stone ghouls that Dimitri had Bradshaw place appropriately last night.
Well, you actually got him to bury them.
I don't know.
While I've got you,
I don't know. They were being used as the replacements of the gravestones. They were monuments. You wasn't burying them.
okay. My attuned shield, Martin.
Yep.
It says while underground, the bearer of the sighted knows the item's depth below surface.
Mm-hmm.
Would I know how far below the surface I am now?
You are
15 feet.
15 feet below the surface.
Okay.
You knew that already because Dimitri told you.
And the direction of the nearest staircase, ramp, or path leading to your planned forge.
That would be directly above you.
Okay. Cool. That's all I need to know. I'm trying to use my items for once and see what they do.
I think that's great, and I just love that magic shield effectively just told you that there's a hole there and it's 15 feet away.
Yes.
Oh, you get chopped down.
Well, I was wondering if there's any other passages we could go down. That's what to get out of here.
That would mean that they were connected to where your clan forge would be.
That's very cool.
And that would be rather disturbing for you if it was.
Oh yeah, I would be having concerns, but I had to ask a question. So okay.
So is there a stone ghoul statue?
I'll say yes because you probably would have had one set up so you could use it in the morning.
It was part of his plan, absolutely. When he was telling Dimitri, yep, just put it there. No, not there. There.
Where? There. But no, there, man. Yeah.
So he'll tie off a rope. Attach it to a couple of them to make sure that it's not like it's a bit more secure, and then put the rope down and say, okay, well, just drop the rope down. So, is it a wall all the way down, or is it effectively?
There is no wall once you go about 2.5 feet into the ground. The wall, you feel the ceiling all around you.
Yeah, happy with that. So yeah.
So it's not an easy thing to get back up.
Well, it still just takes climbing the rope, but obviously you got to find the rope again if you lose it. So.
As you drop down, you can see with the light of the dim morning that the room is about 20 foot by 20 foot.
Okay, so the darkness dissipates?
I know the darkness doesn't fill all the way to the ceiling.
Right. Okay. So we can see effectively the ceiling of the room, but we can't actually see what's in the room.
That's it. As long as you're above the darkness, you can actually see the ceiling. But once you drop into the darkness, you can't. So I was just saying what you get because you lowered yourself slowly and didn't just jump into the darkness.
Yeah. So how big was it placed in?
20 by 20.
Okay.
Okay, I say it's pretty dark in here. I'm going to fix that. I can't stay light.
Okay, so partway down, the paladin shines. What does the paladin cast his daylight on?
I just cast it on my shield.
Okay. So, I'm assuming the outside of the shield so you don't have to look at it?
Now I'm thinking about getting a really sweet tan or something down here. Yeah, I cast it on the outside.
I would have gone with whichever way you wanted it.
But hey, for us it would have had the same effect. We still would have had enough light around.
And the amusing thing is, if you cast it on the inside, you could then close it against your body to hide the light.
That is fair.
So either way was an option. So you have the light shining out around you. You can see Trellin with his hands going over what appears to be a human statue on top of a sarcophagus lying flat, done in intricate detail, so much so that it actually looks like cloth and leather and all that sort of symbology on the body. And you can see there are 4 other of these sarcophagi in the room.
Okay.
Are they all veiled?
Mostly.
Okay.
Are we able to recognise them? Am I able to recognise like, are they meant to be depictions of gods, or I'm not sure.
They appear to be noble in origin. They look to have symbology of the Traldarian people.
Is there any other exits from the room that are apparent?
There is. You can see what appears to be a passageway that stops at about 7 feet from the floor and heads off into the distance. Your light doesn't light up the full passageway. And you can see sort of wisps of darkness floating through your lit up area.
Can I see into through my dark vision?
But you want to see through the darkness?
Yes.
Want to know if he does see through the darkness.
So you could see in dim light within 60 feet as if it were in bright light, and in darkness as if it were a dim light.
So now that the magical darkness has been pushed back, you can see down the passageway. It goes on beyond your sight.
All right.
Which means it goes for more. It means it goes for more than a mile.
Wow.
Having paused to get his bearings again when suddenly the lights came on and his dark vision goggles became more active again effectively, Dimitri will shimmy down the rest of the road and start having a look at the sarcophagi and see if there's any evidence of titles, words, symbols, try and work out exactly who they were, why they've been interred together, that sort of thing.
It looks like a noble family.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of thing that you'd think would be clan head, maybe leader of the town before it fell. And their family line.
The sarcophagi are closed, yeah?
Yep. They are closed.
Do they appear to all been buried at the same time?
They look like they were buried at different times, because you can see dates on them, even though the dates don't make a great deal of sense to you because you don't know what calendar it's using.
Okay. I'll make an extra guess based on the fact that, hey, we're talking Caldara before the rise of Elfheim.
Well, you're looking at least 1200 to 1800 years ago, and using either Traldaran or Darakan calendar system. And the Darakan seem to use the Thiatan calendar, which would mean that this predates the existence of the Thiatan Empire.
Yeah. And in fact, yes, because that's what he recognised that it was actually Traldar, like the ghouls and the Reddit were actually Traldara rather than Traldara.
Because it was around that time that the changeover between Traldar and Traldaran happened over various tribes evolving.
Yeah. and the idea that Club stayed behind when the ghouls came through and caused problems.
I asked Bradshaw if he's able to indicate whether he thinks that the direction of the passageway is the same direction as the village.
A perception roll, I should.
Engineering roll.
Oh, that's even worse. Let me roll the dice first. Let's say that I have no bloody idea, okay?
That seems so unlikely.
Well, considering that the number starts with an O and ends with an E, I think we know what the number's going to be. So it's a critical fail.
Okay, so considering you call it a critical fail, what does Bradshaw think? Because he's got to have some answer, even if it's completely wrong.
I mean, I am listening so intently, knowing that dwarves know everything about underground directions. You've got a fancy shield.
Based on this stonework,
Is in my hands.
I believe... Hang on. The village is in the southwest direction. I've rolled the dice to pick the direction, by the way.
So does that mean the village is in the southwest direction and the passage is not? Or...
The question was, does the passage lead in the same direction as the village?
So obviously the dwarf didn't listen to the question and came out with a completely different answer.
No, so the dwarf basically said the village is in the southwest direction, and then because I don't have a compass, I don't know which way the passage is going. So, on the assumption, sure. I'll just go say
Fantastic. Well, I don't think there's anything to be gained from desecrating these sarcophagi, and I just assume that you guys are the sort of good people who wouldn't do something like that. So I think that we need to head down this passage towards the village.
So is there anything that shows that it's associated with like an energy source? Or that...
How do you mean?
Well, what...
He's trying to ask in a roundabout way, is there a trap that's going to blow him up when he attempts to loot the sarcophagi?
Well,
Probably.
Okay, you're talking about the sarcophagi or talking about the tunnel?
No, the sarcophagi.
Oh, okay.
There are 4 of them, so choose one and choose wisely.
Okay, maybe not. Cause
This is like Indiana Jones and
Four doesn't
Grail
go
all over
into
them.
so I'll just carry on.
Well, you're more than welcome to do it however you like. You see a head pop in from above, and you recognise Druzzle staring down at you.
Has he got any suggestions?
So,
He says he does say passage follows road to village.
well, I was going to say, Dimitri was looking around thinking, okay, yep, well, because it's not hard to work out where the passage goes in that sort of direction because he knows which side of the rope went down, so it's not hard to actually orientate. So, Dimitri's happy to travel underground rather than through the dimness of the daylight. At least underground we've got a justification for being dark.
And hey, if the passageway is only 7 feet tall, then there's a good chance you won't come across creatures of unusual size down here.
Except possibly Drackle if he follows along behind and keeps bumping his head.
He hunches a lot.
He might go travel the road and stamp his foot occasionally to make sure, yep, we're still there. Yeah, well, like if Dimitri can't get a recognition or a thought process on the names of the noble folk of the town of Sufis or something, wasn't it?
The town of Flosauros.
Thesaurus. Right? That was getting Sufis. Maybe I was hearing the last couple of hours. Yeah, so if he can't actually recognise anything more from his knowledge of history or things, then he's happy to continue on. Yeah, that may involve catching up to the party if they decided to start without him, but they did. Obviously, they get themselves into trouble. Eventually, we'll get him out of it.
Okay, so as you start, I'm assuming you start heading down the passage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You hear a bit of a grinding sound behind you. As you see Bradshaw's mount coming through the hole, squeezing in the passage below.
Huh? So, you confused me. So what have I done?
Your mount has come as he's following you.
You left your mount behind.
I forgot to tell it to stay upstairs. Okay. Fair enough, it happens, Yeah.
You hear a crunching sound as it lands on the sarcophagi.
I turn to it and go, please be gentle and quiet.
It nods. Even though it looks like a giant goat.
I know what it's like, yeah. And when it crashes the sarcophagi, I'll have a quick look at if there's anything there that we should keep handy with us, that's all.
Okay, give me a perception roll.
Why do I have the good rolls when? Okay. Perception's wisdom, so that's a 22.
Okay, you see that it has a pair of gold coins covering the eyes of the skull that have rolled off as the skull sort of rolls out of the sarcophagus.
If possible, I attempt to snatch them back up and place them back on the eyes.
Sure, you rush around, grab the coins and the skull, and you put the skull back?
Yes.
Okay. And as you do so, you feel the large dragonborn land beside you. And you hear him telling Horse to stay upstairs.
Is the horse's name Horse?
The creature's name is Horse, yes.
Okay.
It's like some people calling their cat Dog.
Gotcha.
Well, it sometimes looks like a horse.
I actually don't know what it is. I've clearly missed something here. I just assumed that it was a horse.
And that was the point. It's until you know better, you need to assume to be a horse.
That's
Or a
right.
horse. It might be a horse.
Until you get Bradshaw drunk, you won't get any other information.
Then you see the horse's head stick in the hole and sort of turn around almost like twisting around on a swivel.
Curious.
Yep.
Hang on, twisting around on a swivel like it's a horse from a merry-go-round.
Well, no. More like a horse that has a much more flexible neck than you would expect on a horse.
Okay.
Basically,
Gotcha.
if a natural horse turned its neck like that, you'd expect it to snap.
Okay.
As far as Demetrius is concerned, yeah, well, his horse was still hobbled up on outside the area and come back to it with the others. He looks at Bradshaw and says, "What the hell did you bring that thing down for?" You planning on gliding it?
I didn't bring it down. It brought itself down.
Showing your beast better.
It happily comes up to Bradshaw and headbutts him.
I just pat on his head, get an apple out again, out of my endless pouch of apples.
And since it appears that the rest of the party, except possibly Trellin, have been distracted from heading down the passageway, I guess Dimitri's now leading down the passageway instead of following.
Which happens quite often.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone always
happy
follows
to be back up.
Well, you all know that if you let Dimitri find all the traps, you're all safer.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I've lost my lot of character traps one time, so.
Okay, walking along this passageway, it doesn't feel finished. It's definitely not dwarven in make. It has bits where the ground above has sagged and dropped, so it wasn't actually built using basic dwarven principles of design and safety.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously it's the sort of thing that, unless the paladin catches up too much, we're walking ahead in darkness, because Trellin can obviously see in the dark, and Dimitri's got his goggles, so...
Just double check how far this thing goes. I think it's a sphere of. It's pretty big. It's like a 60 feet sphere. Yeah,
I think it's 60 feet of bright light and then 60 feet of dim light.
Okay.
Which means for the elf it's 120 feet of bright light.
Okay. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm trying to catch up. I try to stay near the front anyway.
Okay, so you keep ahead of the grinding noise of the mount following you behind.
Oh, still with us. Cool.
The grinding noise is caused by the horn scraping on the ceiling?
Yep.
Yeah.
and the sides of the wall. Both sides.
I wouldn't have thought that would have ground so much. I would have thought that the fur would have been a bit softer. I suppose the horns might also grind on the sides, yes.
You're watching. There are no. The horns aren't touching the sides, but you're hearing the grinding noise from the side.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm glad that my character's got disadvantage on stealth checks, because now I'm not going to feel so bad if everyone else attempts to hide and I ruin it for everyone.
Hey, the paladin never ruined the team's hiding chances. He just becomes the target, making hiding easier for everyone else.
Okay, so you end up walking a mile through this underground passageway. It has a slight curve to it, so by the time you reach the end of the passageway, you can't see the start of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need much of a curve to do that, but it does mean you can't see from one end to the other.
And it does fit with the effectiveness of the lay of the road on the surface.
You actually never saw how far the road went above.
Okay.
But from what you saw of maps of the place previously, this would potentially put you in the center of town.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing to be. And
obviously, we didn't find anything on the way. There was basically rough cut tunnel that had been at least serviceable enough. But it looked like the tunnel was built hundreds of a score of centuries ago.
It
Or
looks.
are we talking the tunnel of more recent?
It looks close to about 2,000 years of age.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's been used in that time either.
Yeah.
Though you do hear the occasional growl from the goat as it hits obstructions along the way.
You realise, Bradshaw, that that's likely to destabilise the tunnel. But hey,
Well, look, I didn't bring it down. It wasn't me.
I mean, you didn't bring it down, it's yours.
Okay. We've been through this conversation before, Dimitri. It may be associated with me, it's not mine. My dear friend, Dr. Drezel, has more control over it than I do. Is that correct, Dr. Drezel?
He shrugs.
See? Need I say more? I will ask the creature, could you please go back upstairs, please?
Dressel says you should use name. Doesn't like to be called anything but its name. You gave it name.
And how much damage do you want it to do as it tries to climb up an empty space?
Horse, would you mind, please, without causing too much damage, head back up to the graveyard upstairs and just guard the place upstairs, please?
My name is Horse.
You called your place Horse as well, did you?
Yours wasn't called Horse, he says.
You
forget your name. Give me an intelligence check.
Oh, this is not going to be good. I see this failing. No!
We're talking Brad.
That wasn't a fail. That wasn't a fail for once in my life.
What did you get?
21.
21. Okay, what would you like to have called your goat mount?
You always called it.
I call it Bob.
Well, apparently not.
No, I'll start again. Because I remember now.
Bob.
Bob, could you please head upstairs and not do anything on the way up, please? Please guard the graveyard till we get back upstairs.
What stairs?
And my...
Okay, it sort of growls in your direction.
Growls?
Yeah. Your goat growls at you.
I looked at Dr. Drezel going,
Just like your old goat.
why does it growl, Dr. Drezel?
Bradshaw should think about what he asked before asking. And then Drezel continues to follow Dimitri.
So, Bob, you can't go back upstairs now, is that correct?
You can see Bob is currently digging at the ceiling.
Bob, it's okay. Can you just stay here and we'll work our way out when we come back here? Can you guard this room, Pods?
Okay, so you're going to have to make a reflex dexterity saving throw as you feel some of the roof above you start to give.
Why do I have this, man? Oh, that's alright. Oh, okay.
Well, why did you keep referring to upstairs? There were no stairs.
I'm not listening to Dimitri at the moment. 22 for me.
Okay, you roll out of the way as big boulders come down between you and Bob as you hear the grinding sound of Bob crawling out of the tunnel.
Okay. I assume that worked, did it, Dr. Drezel? And I get a shrug, I assume.
He walked on.
You turn around and you're standing there by yourself at the collapsed passageway.
Gotcha. I use my light vision, try to catch up to people, see where the light's going. Yeah.
Okay, so as the rest of you reach a dead end in the corridor, you're caught up with by a very dirty-looking dwarf, and the smell of fresh earth wafting down the passageway.
So the way back's blocked now, is it?
I'm not talking about.
Well, your beast is taken down the tunnel.
Excuse me, he's got a name, please, and it's Bob.
Druzzle turns and says, Bradshaw chose words badly.
I may have not chosen the right tone and direction for words, but the words were fulfilled in its needs. So,
End result, your beast destroyed the tunnel.
well, that's a big word to use. I don't think it's destroyed the tunnel. Maybe redesigned it, or maybe re-engineered it is probably a better word for it.
Well, I thought
Destroyed is a big
re-engineering.
word. You want to go re-engineer?
Is there any holes around here?
Are there any?
Oh, are there any other holes?
No, this was a single passageway that was a mile long with no breaks.
Okay.
Now there is a break. It doesn't go a mile long any further.
And now it's come to a dead end with that exit, is that right?
That is correct.
So there's a dead end, and there's there doesn't appear to be any way up or out.
There does not.
Okay.
Well, to me, I'll have that bit of a look around at the walls and things like that, and confirm with Bradshaw that now it might be worth confirming that we're still only about 15 feet below ground, correct?
I think hard about my shield, and I get an answer from our lovely DM. How far below ground am I?
You are about 20 feet below ground, and there is no way to reach your clan forge from here.
I don't mention that bit.
All blocked off.
Well, that's to me only, not to anybody else. So you have no idea about that.
Oh, okay, 20 feet. Yes, go.
Yeah, we're about 20 feet under.
The tunnel did stay quite level the whole way.
And can I use my stone? Is that stone cutting? Do I have stone cutting? I have. Yeah, stone cutting. Oh no, because this is just a tunnel. It's not actually a brick stonework or anything like that.
It is not well worked, and it hasn't been touched in a long time.
Okay, well.
So are we merely underground, or are we in? Sorry, I didn't phrase that very well. Is the tunnel just sort of made out of like dirt or clay?
It is.
Okay.
It's not stone.
Does anyone have a shovel?
Drazzle pulls out a pick for you.
Whereas Dimitri obviously straight looked at the dwarf.
Well, I do a little bit of investigating around the apparent dead end, just to sort of confirm that it indeed is a dead end.
Give me an investigation check.
Investigation check. What do you think about this? Natural 1.
What would you like to tell the others?
I say, we're in real trouble here. Someone's going to have to dig their way out, us out, and I don't have a pick.
Drazzle turns around and hands it to Bradshaw, saying, Drazzle picked for you.
Drazzle pick for me. So I still can't understand Drazzle speak to as much as Dimitri does. Does Drazzle want me to use the pick and make a hole?
Drazzle just turns his head and looks at you sideways.
I was actually listening to something. I had a phone call in between some of that stuff, so that's why I didn't hear it all. So,
I'm assuming that Dimitri didn't find anything that the paladin might have missed.
So what did Dimitri get?
16, 22.
Okay, apparently you were standing in front of a door release, and the paladin missed it.
Yep. So, well, that's right. He's perfectly happy to. Whilst Bradshaw starts thinking about how to use a pick, Dimitri will have a check at the door controls and make sure they're not trapped.
Perception roll.
Plus 10, 17.
Does not appear to be trapped at all.
And then when Bradshaw is about to try and swing, and obviously swing in the wrong spot, Dimitri will activate the control.
Okay, so Bradshaw, you now have the pick and everyone's looking at you expectantly. Well, some of them are.
Well, I picked what I perceive is a perception check of...
Give me an engineering check.
Well, I'll let the DM decide on this one based on the dice roll. And I'm about to swing their pick at the location. I rolled a similar dice to somebody else rolled recently.
Your
Yeah,
early roll this evening.
yeah, this dice is doing really well. At the
So
moment. It's
another
about to go
one,
flying.
that is?
Yes, unfortunately.
As I said, Dimitri was just waiting for Bradshaw to be about to swing, knowing it was going to be in the wrong spot.
Okay, by the looks of
Yeah,
things,
right.
Bradshaw's about to aim for the ceiling.
Oh yeah, he's 7 foot here. It was only a 7 foot together, wasn't it?
It is. He can hit the ceiling from where he's standing.
But okay, what happens when Dimitri activates the control?
Okay, there's a clicking sound and a door opens near the end of the passageway.
I say, incredible! This dwarf, his engineer, he can merely scare the dirt away and create archways and openings. I'd always heard of these legendary dwarven engineering, but this is next level. Do it again. Can you get it to close?
I'm about to go for the swing going. Then I go realise that, oh, and then I blow. This is what happens. I scare it into thinking that I'm going to hurt it. That's how it works. I have a quick look around. If I see Dimitri near a switch or something like that, I will give him a look of disdain.
Sure, give me a perception
And-
roll.
You're
Come on.
unlikely to notice the switch, because probably behind Dimitri.
15?
15. You look around, you have no idea what you did to scare the door open, but obviously it was all you.
That's right. I don't make sure Dimitri has no taking of this. Well,
Right,
there you go.
Dimitri's only reaction to Bradshaw and Heretive's synopsis of the workings will be a gesture of the arm saying, lead on.
That's right. I lead on.
Okay.
Okay. No verbals or voice involved. It's
You step out.
As we walk through the tunnel, I nudge Dimitri and I say, lucky we've got him on our team, isn't it? Oh, we'd be stuck there forever.
he's a marvel.
And you find yourself in a nicely carved stone corridor, stretching either side of you with what appears to be ever-glowing torches along its length.
And how long is it?
I'm going to say probably about 200 feet in each direction without counting all the numerous squares.
Okay. So effectively we've come in on the side of the tunnel, have we?
You have.
Yep, okay.
And across from you, from where you come in, you can see 5 doors into the wall across from you and a corridor. And the wall you came from has 2 doors, one at each far end. But if you go down the corridor to the left, there's a set of stairs up, and to the right, the corridor turns out of sight.
Well, I think we want to go up, don't we? Our end's destination is up.
Well, Paladin's leading through the passageway, or the dwarf was leading through, so Dimitri's happy to bring up the rear so he can actually have a look at the other side of the doorway that he opened.
It was Bradshaw leading, unless the Paladin wants to go first.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Doesn't bother me. I'm happy to do whatever. I just ultimately think that at this point we need to be thinking about going up as our sort of final destination, and whether we do that now just to see what is up, or whether we go around opening every door that we can find is I guess the decision for the party.
Well, you don't know where the captives may be if they're in this castle, so you probably want to try finding them first, because that was your goal of getting here.
That's it. I believe the only reason I think we had to go up was to actually explore the town and or the castle to then find the captives of the prominent family members that have gone missing.
From what you see of the stonework here, this would not be a basement of anything but a castle.
And obviously, if you had prisoners, they're probably potentially more likely to be underground than they are above ground. But, okay, from Dimitri's perspective, he's happy to follow whichever way you wanted to go.
And just point out the bad things later.
Very cool kind of fact that, hey, yep, we more than likely, well, he'll want to explore the top as well as the bottom anyway, so it doesn't really matter to him what order it is. As far as he's concerned, the potential prisoners are merely just a collateral reason to be exploring some interesting historical areas. He doesn't mind which way we're going, and that's why he's happy to have allowed the paladin and all the dwarves to lead.
Well, there were 2 doors within 10 feet of the secret door you came through.
As I said, the important thing from Dimitri's perspective was, as the last one coming out, he's certainly looking back to determine, A, if the door is obvious from the corridor side,
It is not.
and then B, ensuring that he can find the location again without too much concern. So,
You mark it with an X?
well, he'll put
Or a D because it's Dimitri.
He'll put a scuttle mark on there. Not everyone needs to know about it, obviously.
Do you have arcane mark?
I was just tossing up as whether we'd go that far, but I haven't got it listed amongst his sheets at the moment. Probably the sort of thing that he probably might get it when I rework him and do all the downtime in. But yeah, for the time being, I'm happy to just make it a bit of a scratch in an appropriate place, or a double scratch or something. He can find it again. He'll also see if he can confirm where the controls might be on this side.
Give me an investigation while you're doing that. So, while Dimitri's looking for control mechanisms on this side, what is everyone else doing? Because the paladin has started heading towards the stairs up.
I'll probably follow the paladin, most likely.
Yeah, I'll follow.
19 on investigation.
Okay, you find the set of controls that you realise will open and close the doorway.
Okay. Well, he'll close it behind us then. We don't want to leave the place untidy. So, with his knowledge of markings and then, aim to catch up with them as they start to walk up the stairs and saying, "Is it not worth looking down here first? Happy to go up and confirm if you want, but..." No response from Callan or Dwarf? Or Callan? Assuming Callan was following the other side, so...
Sorry, what's happening with your... What's happened with your door opening?
He closed the secret door and then was asking why people were walking past the doors
why
here.
you decided to go straight upstairs rather than investigating the apparent dungeons of the castle, where prisoners might be kept.
Great question. Really good question. I don't know. I'm more of a man of action. And opening every single door on the way to going where I've just decided we have to go. It just seems like slows down. But you do ask a fair question.
Well, lead on, Macduff.
What sort of came of your investigation of traps or whatever?
I've seen no evidence of fighting traps down here so far.
I guess I query whether they would be keeping any prisoners down here if there appear to be no guards or anything like that. I guess that's part of my theory about why we need to head up. But I'm not completely opposed to the idea of sort of clearing these rooms before we do so.
I've also, like, and I'll confirm with Martin the fact that it's true. So we haven't seen any evidence of foot traffic or anything like that along this corridor, have we?
Well, you don't see anyone moving, but it does look as if this place has been used recently.
Okay.
Well, that's curious.
Yeah, so in which case, then, Dimitri will be saying the fact that,
But then again, the party
Yeah,
has walked down the passageway before anyone looked.
true, and Dimitri comes to life, so it looked like they'd either gone down the other side of the passageway, the rest of the party didn't go, before Dimitri, while Dimitri was sorting out and closing the door and things like that. Any evidence of passage on the other direction?
Okay, yes, Dimitri will have noticed with his passive perception while walking to catch up to the others that there were sets of prints looking like a patrol heading along the wall with the passageway.
Yeah, okay. How big a patrol?
You'd think no more than 2 men, if
Okay.
they're men.
Right, so in that case, so we'll catch up with them and be saying the fact that, yeah, so, well, certainly, up is where they're likely to be staying. So it's as good as any, I'm sure. You can
Okay.
always come back down and check.
You're not wrong about that. You are not wrong about that.
I very rarely am.
Alright.
I thought
Well,
I was once, but I realised I was mistaken.
there's
You got-
stats.
He got better.
Alright, cool. Head to the stairs. Go up the stairs.
Okay, so heading to the stairs and going up them, you find yourself coming into a dimly lit room with a table and 3 doors.
Is there anything on the table?
There is actually nothing on the table. Looking around, it appears to be about a 60 by 40 foot room.
It's a big room for a table with nothing on it.
It
I don't
is.
like it. It's suspicious.
The table is off to the side as well.
Oh, which side? Left or the right?
Well, the stairwell comes out on the on one wall, and the table is at the far wall.
Oh,
Very
this is all
guarded by
very
the gazebo.
suspicious.
Looks like this would be a great killing room.
Yeah, right.
So, is there any airflow?
There is no airflow here whatsoever.
Right.
Dimitri's going to be continuing to move along, having allowed the paladin to lead the way, and probably with the dwarf stopping beside him. Dimitri will be continuing to follow along, aiming to keep note or track of evidence of other passages and things like that.
Right, head to the middle door of the 3 doors.
Yep.
Are they all the same wall?
No,
Or are they
they're all on
walls?
separate walls.
Okay. Alright, so is there one door on the opposite wall to where we've just come up from?
There is.
Alright, I'll go up then, I'll put my ear to the door, see if I can hear anything.
Okay, your ear is feeling the heat of the door.
Well, that's interesting.
Give me a perception roll.
14.
Okay. You can smell freshly cooked roasted meat from the other side of the door.
Alright.
Notice your nose works a lot better inside your steel helmet than your ears do.
Yeah, that's fair. I whisper to the others. It seems like the kitchen's through there. Perhaps we should try the other doors first. And I then attempt the same maneuver on the door on the left of where we came in from. And I might even remove my helmet as well.
Okay.
Dimitri will listen at the other door.
Okay, so I'll get both of you to do perception rolls as you're listening.
20.
15 on the door on the left.
Okay, so Dimitri's hearing it click, 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 grind, click, 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 grind. From that, and Peritiv is feeling this door feels cold.
Alright. Do I have any inclination about whether that might just merely mean that this door goes outside?
There's a possibility. Give me an insight roll.
21.
You do think this might lead to the outside.
Okay. Alright. Alright, I think this way goes outside, lads. What do you have over there, Dimitri?
Dimitri's already opened the door. With the half expectation of Granshaw's beast dragging something along behind it as it was moving as it caught up to him. He'll be looking down the passage, looking down beyond the door.
Okay, you open it up and appear to be looking into a workroom where you see two humanoids cutting away at vegetables, slicing rather quickly with it. Click, 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 and then scraping it off onto a pan.
Yep.
And as you do so, they have not noticed you whatsoever.
Okay.
But you do see their ears sticking out longer than most elves' ears are.
Okay.
And their skin is that sort of white, almost translucent look.
In the sense of they appear to be more undead.
I will give your character a culture check.
Okay. 16.
Okay, so you do recognize them as the mythical elves of the Shadowlands.
Ah, okay.
Would I have seen this before from my previous ventures?
Your character has not really traversed the Shadowlands.
Oh, that's right. I'm only seeing the other elves. Yeah, okay, yeah. Cool. Just making sure. It's been a while.
The ones you saw were skins so
wanna come
dark
back?
that they were burned looking.
Do you want to come out, Dimitri, and discuss it?
Okay. Dimitri's going to close the door
Mm-hmm.
and then come away and mention that, okay, well, we found some of the inhabitants. And then depending on whether or not they then open the door, because they heard you closing it, that would be the end of Dimitri's comment. If there's more time, then he can explain that, yes, it would appear that a rare elven offshoot are the inhabitants down here.
Alright, do we...
Do we kill them,
Do we-
or what? What's the plan?
I feel like we can't kill these elves that are merely carpeting ups of vegetables.
Okay.
So they obviously did not apparently react to Karameikos too, obviously. Very stealthy about his natural movements. So the door didn't open again, I'm guessing, Martin, is that right?
It did not.
Well,
Alright,
then, is the opportunity for Tamiki to start giving a more in-depth information and details about the Rare Elven offshoot that apparently is living in here.
Does your character know, how these elves are, likely to be inclined towards the capture of civilians for ransoms and whatnot? Is that the sort of behaviour that they would?
It's likely that they're quite xenophobic because, hey, not many would actually accept them being in the area. So.
And you've also heard of these stories of the shadow elves being responsible for the abduction of elves over many centuries.
And but the people who have been abducted that we were attempting to track down, were they a mixture of various races, or were they specifically elves?
You never actually got told the races. You just got told that they, if not found, they might turn the cause of the war.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the families were influential enough that if they were corrupted in their decisions, we'd have problems.
And if they were announced who they were, there's a good chance people listening would stop you or just kill them.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, there was only a couple there, but they were obviously preparing dinner for quite a significant number more. You probably find that yeah.
And do you think that they're vegetarians?
It would seem unlikely.
Well, I'd say that there appeared to be the smell of...
What else are they going to do with the prisoners they've collected?
There appeared to be the smell of cooked meat coming from one of the other doors. Do I wonder whether do we question these elves? Do we question them nicely or forcefully?
I very much doubt the luck of the talk.
One second.
Yeah.
I think I know Elvish.
Well, I've got
Not sure.
Sylvan.
Okay, don't we all?
But Sylvan is the Fey tongue, not necessarily the Elven tongue.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh well, it's all the same to me. But whatever.
I'm pretty sure I heard Elven.
That's right. Dimitri's been teaching you some Kalari elf. That's apparently what you are.
I've got deep speech. I don't know whether that's the sort of thing that these guys would speak.
Yes, I know Elvish. I don't know. Not sure if it's Shadow Elvish. I will try to communicate.
So you just step into the room and talk at them?
You're opening the door and going in, or you're going to sneak from the open doorway?
I'm going to go in the room, not bring weapons out, and do the... Say, hello. How are you? You can do it as friendly as possible.
Dimitri will be at the other end of the room, examining the door that the paladin said was cold, and assuming he doesn't find any traps on it, he'll open it up.
And
Right,
find
yeah.
a bunch of
Crystallized.
crystallized creatures.
Well, or okay, so it might be just a switch. But yeah, so you basically open the door.
Dozens of crystal elementals.
But yeah, so obviously, Bradshaw's attracting attention at that moment, so go
Okay.
Bradshaw.
So you step in, open it, and start speaking to them. So I'm going to give you a culture check to see how well you can word things, considering that they don't speak standard Elvish.
That's okay. I knew this was a long shot. Culture. That would be. Go back to my sheet online. Oh, culture. What's culture? Be intelligence, is it? Is that correct?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Where do you think it should be?
Okay. Just as possibility going. Oh, okay.
Because you can use the ability you think appropriate for the skill, depending upon how you're applying the skill.
I'm going to use my charisma. Because of my charismatic, you know. Cool.
Seems appropriate. You try to talk to them, chat to them.
It is appropriate. You can use it.
24. If they're female, they love me.
Okay, they're both looking your direction with that. Almost looks like a look of disgust on their face.
I try to show 2 open hands and no threat. I try to say if I feel they're not understanding Elvish, I'll say in common, no threat.
2 open hands and a big toothy grin. All ready to eat you with.
And that, wink.
I have all my teeth, thank you, by the way.
Like I said, all ready to eat them with.
Go on, sorry.
Okay, so one of them points the chopping knife in your direction and mutters something at you. You get to make another culture check.
Not as good as that last one. 9.
9. It sounded a little disparaging.
I show a sign of... I'm using my body language here, which in a dwarf means could mean anything. But I'll say, I try to show no threat but friendly, but in a way saying, hey, I'm trying to act like there's no threat. I'm no threat to them, I think.
Okay,
so
so while you say that, there's a cold wind blowing through you as Dimitri opens the door to the outside.
Ooh, I have a shiver.
What would you like to do?
Well, if they haven't attacked me yet, I feel I've still got a chance. So, till I feel they're going to attack me. So, that's why I thought I'd show open arms, no threat. They're shadow elves. I'm not sure if this is going to work. I pull an apple out of my pouch of endless apples and offer it open hand to them.
Ah, so you're kicking the beast off them. His apples.
So the one of the cutting knife stabs it into the apple.
Based on my insight check I'm going to roll, which is a net 20 plus... would have been 26 probably. Close to that. Do I have a feeling that I'll be threatened now by them?
Well, when the knife goes through the apple into your hand, maybe.
You didn't say hand yet, you just said through the apple.
It did say through the apple.
Through the apple to the hand?
It seems to be looking at the apple suspiciously as if it's never seen one before.
Okay. I pull my hand away from that, let him, and walk a couple steps back. Do I see, does he actually look at the apple, try to taste it, that kind of stuff?
He doesn't, he's just looking at it as if it's something weird that he's never seen before.
I grab another apple out of my thing, and I eat a bite out of it, and show him what I've done, and see if he does the same thing. Or it. I don't know if it's a he or she yet, I assume, so.
Hard to tell, it's an elf.
It's elf, yeah, well. No offense, Callum.
None taken.
Well, I mean, it has got a beard.
Look, if this has to take all
That's
session, I'll communicate with Shadow Elves. I'm willing to do this.
Okay,
So
while Bradshaw's having an apple off with the Shadow Elves, what's everyone else doing?
Well, okay, Dimitri's looking outside, just make sure that it's all clear out there. Or not.
I
Okay,
don't
so-
even know what to do at this stage. Like, if I can't communicate with these elves, I feel like they're almost not worth wasting time with.
It must be bad.
So my proficiency would allow me to equip the longbow with a bonus action. So I'll just sit there with no offensive actions.
Okay. And Jeremy, while you're looking outside, you see what appears to be a courtyard of a castle. And up on the wall, you can see dark-skinned elves with weaponry reminiscent of the Hollow World walking across the battlements.
Yeah. Okay. But yes, it's certainly not the first time that Dimitri's come across Scatten Elves.
And you do recognize these as distinctly different from the ones in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, sorry, I missed that. So you've seen elves outside, like elves that appear to be like guards or something, is that right?
Yeah, okay. The battlements are patrolled, just like the dungeons.
Yep. Okay. And
so
they're different type of elf.
Does Dimitri actually recognise different types of elves?
He does recognize them as a Scadden Elfen, considering you've dealt closely with them.
That's right. But the ones in the kitchen were not Scatten Elves.
They were not. Their skin was white instead of black.
Yeah. And I thought they were Shadow Elves, is that right?
That's correct. The Shadow Elves have the reputation of white skin.
White skin, yeah.
Almost ghost-like.
And how many are we seeing monitor the battleworks?
Well, you glanced out, saw two moving, and ducked in because, well,
Yep.
elves do have a
Okay.
reputation for noticing things.
Yep, happy with that. Yep, okay, there's both Scatten Elf and Shadow Elf. That's interesting combinations. But I would suggest that we not tarry. Unless, of course, you want to attack.
What in the room, assuming that I can sort of see past Bradshaw, in the room with the two shadow elves in it, is there another doorway out of that room?
There are two other doorways.
Right.
The Rheddrians just go and check on the cold room, the hot room.
Mhm.
Again, open the door crack just to have a look inside. Again, looking to see if there's other ways out, but don't necessarily go past Scatton or Shadow.
I am going to hope that these shadow elves are, not necessarily aligned with the other elves, and that they are merely servants or even slaves or something like that. And I'm using this for the justification of the fact that I'm going to march in there, like, sort of make like a shushing motion to them, because I know I'm not going to be able to communicate with them. Make what I hope is like a fairly generic and universal sort of shushing motion, like finger to lips, and then I'm going to go and investigate the closest of the other doors by putting my ear to it again.
Okay, so while you're moving through there, I'm going to give you a perception roll.
Mm-hmm. 15.
You do see that each of them has chains on their ankles, and they're attached to the table that they're working at.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better then. Okay, cool. Right. Well,
But Bradshaw from the doorway wasn't in a position to see it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to assume that they're probably not going to raise the alarm. I hope. Yeah, and then I attempt to investigate the closest other door by using my senses on it. I guess hearing first.
Okay. Give me a perception check as you're listening at that door. Or trying to perceive what's on the other side of it, at least.
12.
You don't hear anything leaping out at you.
Okay. All right. I try the same thing at the other door.
Okay, so as you listen at the other door, you hear a scraping sound. Sounds to you as if it is whetstone on metal.
Okay. All right. I back away slowly from that door, and I alert the others to potential enemy, or potential like guards or soldiers or whatever on the other side of that door.
Are we guaranteed that the shadow elves, which are crawling across the battlements,
No, there's
are
cat and elves.
enemies?
There's cat and elves, not shadow elves.
Whatever the word is.
Yeah, the shadows are the slave. They're ones that appear to be enslaved in the kitchen.
Not those. So I'm talking about the ones outside.
They have certainly been provided integral influences in previous encounters. But what Dimitri see through the door that was locked?
Okay, as you open it up and look in, you see a line of 6 fire pits, each with boars on it, and more of the pale elves working the pits.
Okay. And exit from this one? Or is this effectively almost outside if you've got the...
With a quick glance, you see that there you could probably walk between the pits on one side, but the rest of the room is sealed off. Doesn't seem to be any exits you can see easily from the doorway.
Okay.
But as there are at least 6 of the shadow elves here working.
Are they talking to each other at all?
They are not.
Okay.
And the chains are obvious from the doorway.
Yeah.
And how are they being controlled?
Well, they're probably, having lived a life of slavery for a long time, that's what they're told now.
Yeah, okay.
Will's been broken. So, well, okay, so Dimitri will leave the cooking, the ones who are cooking, and take a look at the others where they've got to, and they're saying that they're basically going into the kitchen area where they'll chop, where a couple of them are chopping, and Eric has just been doing his listening at the thing.
And he
about
points.
the time we all get back into the kitchen, I'm guessing.
And he points out that the door furthest from where you came in is has sound of potential people behind it.
Yeah. So Dimitri still has his language amulet that he used when we came across the Scattendells last time. We'll try talking to the Shadow Elves and quietly and getting a better understanding of the situation in that sort of sense.
Okay, I will give you
Do they talk and can he understand them?
I'll give you an insight check.
17 plus 23.
From the way they're acting as you're talking to them, you realise that they've had their tongues removed.
Uh,
It's pretty gross. Is there something you can do about that, Paladin?
Yeah, I'm just looking at that. I don't know that I can do anything about restoring a tongue. I mean, like,
It's a 7th level spell.
It's a stretch, so don't worry about it.
I mean, I'm tempted to just. I'm really tempted to just kind of set them free at this point. But the.
well, you'll have to
yeah.
do it to Scat Elf first.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I mean, setting these elves free, though, I feel like is going to be not only the right thing to do, but also potentially even like borderline helpful in the short term. Assuming that they would like to use those knives to wreak some sort of vengeance on the people who have enslaved them.
So you want to kill them.
What? No. I'm suggesting that we set them free and.
To go and die.
What's that?
To go and die.
No, not necessarily. That's not my goal. But I'm suggesting. What's that?
Take a look at them.
So they've got
They don't
weapons.
fight or have any effect.
Yeah.
Much better off to eliminate the captors first, then you think about
Yeah, I guess so.
it.
Yeah. I support that latter view.
Okay.
Matrix.
Of course,
As reluctant as I am to support anything that Dimitri does.
I'll do a challenge roll from my side.
But yeah, Dimitri will turn back to the two kitchen hands and try and get an indication of how many Scat Elf are actually in the castle and or the surrounds.
Okay.
And how many others do they control, as in such as yourselves?
You get the feeling from him that, at least you think it's a him, that there are quite a few.
We talking more than 20? Or am I getting the impression he probably can't count?
Well, it's hard to express numbers.
Yeah?
We could go 1, 2.
No, it's what I'm saying. More than 20. Yes or no?
He does nod.
Okay. More than 100?
He does nod.
Jeez.
500?
He shrugs at that point.
And how many like yourself? 100?
He just
More?
he just points up.
500?
Gives you a thumbs up at that point.
You know if there's any other prisoners besides shadow elves like yourself?
He shrugs at that and shakes his head.
Well, excellent. We will. Our goal is to release you from this bondage. However, it may be best to hold your position now and just we will remove the Scat Elf threat so that then you can all be free. Good?
Gives you a thumbs up.
So what's the other one doing? Is he apparently having similar reactions, or is he just letting the other one talk? Or
He's letting the other one talk and watches.
Yeah.
I wonder whether we go back and check the room that there appeared to be other good smell, like food smells coming from. Perhaps we'll find the same thing there.
Well, there was another half dozen or so of them in there that I would strongly suspecting they're in the same boat. So,
Oh, hang on. Have you already seen what's in that other room? Have you?
well, when you suggest looking in there, to me could give you that response. But yep, there's about half a dozen of them in there, looking over the open spit.
Okay. All right, great.
I very much suspect they will be just talkative all back there on.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what do we want to do about this next room then? Do we risk literally just charging through there and attempting to take whoever is in there by surprise? Do we try to avoid it because, do we try to avoid it for the reason that we're just going to try to avoid encountering as many of their guards as possible?
Well, we've got a convenient door outside, and we can just keep smacking them.
Oh, so you're sort of suggesting that we actually engage them through the outside door and draw them all in. I mean, ultimately, I don't know that all 100 plus of them are just going to march through the door one by one, especially given that we know that there are at least 2 other doorways that they could be coming through.
I think a better, a more secure spot might be preferable.
So do we retreat one door and then have a go at them?
Well, talking to the slaves again, saying, pointing downstairs into the dungeons area.
Yep.
Are they well used by the scat now?
Okay.
He gives it a calendar.
He shakes his head.
Not implying no. Where do the shadows sleep?
He points to the floor.
Everyone sleep where they work.
He nods.
What about the scat elves? Do they have a barracks or things anywhere in particular?
He shrugs.
Because surely they would kill the... If we retreat too far, then they could kill these guys.
Oh, they could kill them anytime if they wanted to, but as long as they're still trained up and apparently not doing anything, they're probably safer. Do they have much reaction at all at the thought of being freed? Other than, hey, that's cool, but not, they're not desperately keen for it to be done immediately?
Has a look of suspicion as if they don't really trust you, which is not too surprising considering they probably haven't met much of your race before.
No, that's right. And hey,
I want to point something out, and that we can't go back the way that we came. And if we can't go back the way that we came, I fear that we're ultimately going to have to, whatever decision we make from here on out, we're ultimately going to get into a situation where we're probably going to have to fight our way out. And whilst I'm not necessarily the sort of person who, the sort of paladin who, thinks that we should be using a bunch of emaciated slaves to do our fighting for us, I do think that there is a certain righteousness in triggering a sort of slaves revolt, and if that there are 500 plus of these slaves somewhere, that's an awful lot of angry slaves. Well, I guess what I'm trying to intimate is if we have to fight 100 soldiers to get out of this castle,
We don't. Obviously, we can get out if I want to.
how?
Just going back down through the mountains and coming out one of the other exits.
Well, do we assume that there are other exits down there? And do we assume that they go outside, or do we just assume they go back into another part of the castle?
Obviously, we can get out.
The Symmetry you're talking about, he can get out of anywhere.
Can he get himself out of a hole that he's done, though?
He might have teleport.
Well, I can run
Can
up
he get his foot
5
out of
feet.
his mouth?
Dimitri did specifically say we. He didn't necessarily include everybody in the party, but he was pretty confident that he can get out and I can challenge to get away too without too much problem. So
Because
the other
I
slow guys might have more problems.
feel like if we're here to rescue people, and I don't even know how many people there are to rescue, but if we're here to rescue people, sneaking back out is going to be challenging, and if there truly are 500 slaves here, leaving them here is going to be problematic, I think. Yeah, I think I just feel like we're kind of at the point where we need to be thinking about what our ultimate game plan is to get back out. So maybe maybe you're right. Maybe before we engage anyone in any sort of combat, we go back down into the dungeons and make sure that we know, whether that is a viable solution.
And if nothing else, you're more likely to find the other or other aspects of the 500 potential slaves. Because I can't see that they can necessarily keep all of them chained to their work location permanently.
No, that's what I assume. Yeah.
Drazzle sticks his head in and asks, pen or paper anyone have?
Dimitri, if you offer some pen and paper.
He offers it to the elf. And turns to Dimitri and goes,
what has he written on it?
and then says, ask question. He doesn't hand it to Trellin.
Who does he offer it to?
He's giving it to
the slaves.
He's giving it to the slaves, so the
Oh,
slaves.
okay.
They can write,
Right, yeah.
they can't give it, they can't talk. So, but okay, from Dimitri's perspective, that wasn't necessary because they didn't know enough to be having worthwhile answers.
Well, I think Drazzle, because this seems very helpful.
He nods and goes back to the outside door and waits.
Alright, okay, so, I mean, I'm not going to be able to, I don't think I'm going to be able to communicate with him in any meaningful way, so I might leave it up to someone else.
Oh, okay, so we can say, I think, yeah. Fine, they can write information, but obviously they already don't know any information. They have no idea of how many people are, the numbers of getting elves. They get confined to the kitchen permanently. So, what do you want me to ask them? Because they're not likely to know.
I mean, is it worth us releasing just these
Can
two?
you, okay, Dimitri will go back to them and say, can you sketch out a map or approximate locations of the areas of the castle that you're aware of?
He nods and starts drawing a detailed map. You find that he's got a 3-story castle with a basement underneath it. And while he doesn't know what are in the rooms now, he did say that the clan children were located in this room when they were overrun by over 100 blood elves.
how long were you living here?
It had 500 years.
And
That's pretty good.
your clan moved in to this location, or were you involved in any of the building?
Clan moved in. The lighting conditions worked well for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how long ago did the Scatten Elk, or Blood Elk as you refer to them, arrive?
They arrived about 12 months ago.
And that coincides with the starting of disappearances, or did the disappearance only go for the last few months?
People have been disappearing for a long time, but you're not sure if these elves had anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, or with the Scatten Elk, or in fact, yeah, the Shadow Elk might have been keeping people away. Who is the leader of the Scatten Elks? And any idea where he might be located, or she might be located?
Okay, so he says, hard to say, but they were hunting for something called a slither of, something called a slither they were hunting for.
That term name doesn't mean anything to me, I'm assuming?
It does not.
Okay, so we've got a 3-story castle with a basement underneath. Only the one level of basement/dungeons.
Only one level is basement and dungeons.
Does he mark the tunnel that leads out to the chapel underground
He does not.
on the map at all? He doesn't? No.
He doesn't seem to know of it.
It would fit with the fact that we didn't have any indication of any travel along that in recent times. So.
He does say the name of the two people in charge seem to be Thizarta Gullion and Maina Lurtha. And the second one being a priestess of Atzantiotl.
And what was the second one, Dave?
Second one's name was Maina Lurtha.
Maina Lurtha.
And she was is a cleric of Atzantiotl.
Priestess of Atzantiotl.
And the remaining adults have been threatened with the blood sacrifice of all the children, unless they remain at their stations.
So, looking at the map and pointing out the passageway leading to the basement we just came out of, that can give an indication as like the doors that we walk past, any indication of what they're used for normally?
Storage is what he wrote down.
I was going to say, I was assuming they're probably storage type stuff. So
And
therefore,
some were also locked.
Okay. So yes, potentially that would be a good place where we can work from and recover the children and your other clan personnel before they can fall victim to main Alarofa and or the Sato Galleon. How did the Blood Elves manage to overrun you? Did you lose many in the fight, or they caught you by surprise, or their numbers were more than your own at the time?
There was no warning. They were suddenly amongst them while none of them had weapons ready.
And they were able to effectively provide the threat to the children before a response could be held.
They slaughtered at least a third of the clan before we surrendered. Most of the elders fell during the attack.
So which means then that if we were able to provide you with some weapons, and or is there an armory around that has your stores of weapons?
There was in the basement, but unlikely to still be there after the Blood Elves and their mercenaries took over.
But presumably they had their own weapons, and so they still will need somewhere to keep the weapons that were there already, so it's certainly worth a look to see if they might still be there. So,
he does mark on the basement where the armory is located.
Okay. Dimitri will have a bit of a look at the chains and confirm that they're ones that, whether he thinks he can pick the locks and break them open.
You could quite possibly just bend them open. You think the threat of their children is enough for them not to escape?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That was the confirmation. Was go. If we can effectively supply your people with weapons and allow, like manage to find where they're keeping the children and get them secure and safe, then your folk would be willing to step up as needed to remove the threat of the Blood Elves.
Those that remain would punish the Blood Elves for what they have done. We do not serve the Corruptor.
But with what weapons?
Oh, no, this is good. Okay, so the intent is we can do a bit of a search around the castle and the basement area below.
Okay.
Because obviously the Shadow Elves, like the ones who have now been captured, were living in this place for 500 years.
Okay.
They had their own stores of weapons and their armories, which becomes potentially the first place to look to see if the armory is still being used in that fashion. Because obviously the Blood Elves had their own weapons anyway, so they wouldn't necessarily want to use them, but they could well have moved the stockpile of weapons just so it wasn't easily available or knowing where they were.
Yeah.
But presumably there are enough weapons around somewhere that we could supply the Shadow Elves, and if we can eliminate the threat upon the children, and presumably also remove some of the senior Staten Elves, Blood Elves, particularly the Sato Galleon and Maynard Larotha, who, Acantiotal's not the good guy, so it is certainly a threat worth removing. And potentially, if we can find the children, hey, the prisoners we came searching for maybe get a similar location.
Cool.
So what was the room that's apparently next door where they're grinding and sharpening weapons?
Okay, so that appears to be the store area with some guards.
Okay.
So that's where they store all the food for the fortress.
Right. So Dimitri suggests that our first point of call would be to duck back down to the basement area, do the search of that, see if we can find the armory, if the weapons are still there. Also, see if we can find where they might be keeping the children and all the other prisoners, on the idea that we're less likely to come across patrols down there, and we're more likely to evade if we do see them. And from there, after that level, we can then assess what we know and what we found out, and proceed further on that point. But my recommendation is that we want to actually have as much knowledge about the location and the layout and everything like that before we actually engage the scout-mills.
Can I just double check? The plan is now to do the thing that I suggested we do ages ago, and then I was rambling poo-poo for it.
Dimitri's got his own process, so that's okay.
Where he suggests other people's suggestions.
Can I just check? I've got a shadow elf
You
amulet.
get used to it after a while, trust me.
Well, actually, you have
Does that help me in any way?
you do have a Scadden Elfin amulet. You thought it was Shadow Elf because you didn't actually know the difference.
Okay.
But yeah, Scout Nelson is the one that the same one as Dimitri's got.
Right.
Yeah. Because yeah, we got them when we went down to the chat when we went down to Hollow.
Yeah.
There was concern at the time that yes, they were problematic for what the Scat Elves might be able to face, but once we got out of the Hollow World, it was probably relatively safe to actually at least have them around.
So there's no problem whatsoever with demon-infused trinkets.
Absolutely not.
No, there's not at all.
It's how they're used that's important. That's all that matters. So Dimitri is suggesting that we go and explore the basement areas as he first suggested.
I follow Dimitri.
Yes.
Now that I realise how to manipulate Dimitri by merely suggesting something and then waiting for him to suggest the same thing, and then just tag along and tell him, "Oh, great suggestion, excellent." I realise that it's actually relatively easy to manipulate him, so this is great.
Well, you can think however you want.
If only it was that true.
So the intent will be to go back down and actually start listening and examining at all the doors that we bypass. Check to see whether the storerooms are again ones that are particularly looking for one or two of them that might be less used. So therefore, if we need to, they become a base we can actually return to and rest if we need to.
Okay, so looking, you find what appears to have once been used as a pantry, now full of hunted hides of animals.
Mm-hmm.
Looks as if whoever's been here has been pillaging the local wildlife.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't expect this amount of fresh skins from any hunting party because it would definitely feed more than the castle could hold.
That kind of things have been going on for a while. They've been doing some hunting and possibly for more than just food.
The next stream you come across has a well and high quality pulleys which Even Bradshaw admires, considering he could have used these when he was trying to set up his system earlier.
Oh, damn it!
And the pulleys drop a rope and bucket into a well that feeds the castle.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming there's evidence of that route being moderately commonly accessed.
Looks as
Is this going
looks
to
well
be the
kept.
main source of water,
This
or is
is-
this going to be an emergency source of water?
You expect this would be the main source of water, so they don't have to go outside.
Yeah.
Then you come across a storage room with taxidermied animals and banners. Animals that look like they would have been killed way back when humans lived here. As with the banners as
Okay.
well, they do look old.
Okay. When the when the Shadow Elf moved in, they decided to redecorate the place, but they didn't necessarily throw out all the old Keldar and Keldar decorations. They put them stored away. Is that what you
Yeah,
meant?
it looks as if they stored away all the heritage that used to belong in the castle.
Well, that gives us promise that there might be some weapons down there.
Well, from a military perspective, it's definitely interesting stuff that you'll want to come back to. So,
And then the next one you find appears to be the armory.
okay. Have any of these stock rooms been locked so far?
No, they have not.
Okay. The armory, is it locked?
It is not locked, but when you look in there, instead of equipment, you see what appears to be a giant still.
Okay.
And along the edges of the room, you see what you would imagine as technological tools that don't fit this setting style.
Do you mean that they're alien?
Well, they are not something you've seen before, but they remind you of the stuff that Rheddrian had recommended you look out for.
And it's certainly not reminiscent of the sorts of equipment or tools that the Scat Elves had been provided to fulfill the plans in the Hollow World to destroy the Hollow World. Do they?
They the Scatten Elven never used advanced technology. They only used not far above what the Etrurgan use.
Yep.
So
What
that
about the like the Nithians? Who were involved in one of the attempts to destroy the sun?
well, the Nithians themselves had high magic, but not high tech.
Yeah, so they're basically, none of the tools here or the technology here is reminiscent of what we saw in the Hollow World.
None of it is no.
Okay.
But they look like what you've heard of in the far east of, far west as being firearms.
Mm-hmm. And but this is the room that Scat Elf labelled as the armory originally, is that right?
Yep. That's what the Shadow Elf labelled as the armory, yes.
Sorry, Shadow Elf, sorry. But obviously, yes, none of the Shadow Elf tool weapons are still here.
You see what appears to be the Shadow Elf weapons. There are no weapons that belong to the Scattenhelven here.
Ah, right.
As far as the Shadow Elves, well, I guess there's two questions. One is, are they here? And the other question is, are they able to use firearms?
Well,
Like,
the
has the trigger finger been removed or anything?
well, for the first question, the Shadow Wolves are definitely still here because they're the ones that have been enslaved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems that yes, the Shadow Wolves do have the advanced technology of what we can think of as firearms. But that the Scat and Elven caught them by surprise and therefore overwhelmed them with the threat upon family and kin before they could potentially use this advanced technology.
All right. And then the second question was about can they use them?
Whether the weapons are actually still functional, which is what Dimitri was going to be looking at the moment, on the idea of they suggested that the Scat Elves may have moved all weapons from what he thought of as the armory at the time, but looking around,
You see a couple of them
the
looking.
assessment that potentially the Scat Elves did not recognise these as weapons.
Well, you see a couple of them look as if they've been thrown against the wall.
Sorry, okay.
You see a couple of them look as if they've been thrown against the wall.
Trying to use as spears effectively.
Insight roll.
Or thrown against the wall in disgust with not being able to work in. Insight of 17.
You would expect that the Scatten Elven probably couldn't figure out how to use them.
Yeah, so
And
they threw them down in disgust after attempting to use them, not attempting to use them incorrectly.
And if the Wood Elves had found these items, they would have destroyed them all.
Mm-hmm.
Can I determine the quality of these items that are down here? Use my weapon master.
Give me an engineering check.
Yep. Would I get any bonus being a weapon master?
No.
So
You have no training in any of these weapons.
Is there a 1 in 20 chance that they blow up or something?
It could be.
Don't like that roll. So 5 on the dice. And engineering would be... I'm going to use strength because I'm a weapon master.
Strength work with trying to figure out how these things work.
Yeah, so I've used just pick it up and just, wave them around a bit, see what happens. So that'd be...
bend them, flex them.
14.
14. Moving around, you don't get any feel that these things are anything but metal, and they seem to be constructed in a way that you're not familiar with.
But surely the Wood Elves have recognised the benefit of these particular weapons.
Because you weren't brought up amongst their culture, you don't know why they would destroy it all, but you missed that part of the childhood.
Since I've got my bag I'm holding with me,
Yep.
what weapons do we have? So I didn't get here originally, I just got back to my computer. What kind of weapons do we have here? I'm looking for stuff.
Well, the point is we don't really know what weapons they are. As players,
Yeah.
we recognise them as firearms.
Okay, can I find a smaller model of something here, but not a big one? And can I put it in my bag holding?
Okay, you drop it in your bag, and you see the bulk of it in the bag itself. It hasn't gone through wherever your dimensional space goes.
Okay, I'll carry it with me then, worst case, yeah. But I'm intrigued to show my best friend elf, the Great Dwarf champion, see if they know anything about this kind of stuff.
As a dwarf, you would have known that elves pretty much murder anyone who carries advanced technology.
Okay, so
you'd never show your friend if you your elven friend.
Yeah,
found these
I would,
things.
but I would like to show when I go back to my great castle to see if we can work out what this is. I think. But I don't want it. I want to just take it between. I'll work it out with my half million gnome friends back at my castle. But yeah, I'll hang on to it just in case. So okay.
Well, while Bradshaw's
Stealing.
displaying his expert weapon knowledge and understanding, Dimitri's going to be looking at the still that was in the room. Does it appear to be the same technology as the weapon?
It is not. It's rather crude in comparison. It uses dirty, badly blown glass.
Yep. So,
rusting metal, connecting it together, whereas none of the gear show any signs of rust. That is the advanced technology.
So Dimitri will mention to the party the idea of, hey, this is obviously a place that Scatnels come moderately regularly to collect their hooch. Don't make it look like anyone else has been here fucking around.
And I'll also get Bradshaw to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Gotta love radiation poisoning. You there, Mark?
Sorry, everything else on you. It was 23.
Okay, so you're looking at your blackened fingers, wondering what blackened them, but you don't feel any further effects.
Got just a bit of dust and oil on the weapons.
Yeah. I'll wipe off and finish my black fingers. On his cloak. Expensive magical cloak.
If you come near Dimitri with dirty hands, he's going to kick you away. Say, what the hell are you doing?
Let's try to keep me away. Come on, I want to see this.
Well, lucky I've got a cloak of displacement, so that puts
That's
me
why.
about
That's why I did
3 feet away.
I went to the other first.
The point is,
And I had to respect for the paladin. So.
Okay, so
he's going to Dimitri because he picked it up in the church chapel.
Do you want to attach the attack?
sure, give me a d20 check to see how badly you miss.
Touch 10. Okay, yeah. See, I got 8 in the dice before, and
Another one?
18. It
That's
starts with a T. So, even if I was possibly about +9 as well, because I'm trained in that, expert, I think I might hit a 13 or 14 max. So I'm plus 10.
Dirty, mucky, grubby, dwarven fingers to yourself.
You know, fun, Dimitri. Anyway, I've had my fun here, man.
Though you do see that your fingers are leaking.
Leaking?
Yep.
Blood or not blood?
Give me a medicine check.
No, you're leaking oil.
See, this is where I want the roll to work the next previous time. That'd be 18.
18. Looking at it, it appears to be black sort of blood.
This is after I pick up the device, is that correct?
Yep. With the hand you picked it up with.
I grab some cloth from my bag, pull it out of my bag, throw it back in the corner, and make sure I don't touch it with my bare hand anymore. Then I go to my paladin friend and say, "Hey, can you fix this?" And
so what's wrong? Your finger's dirty.
well, I picked up that thing over there. Don't pick up your hand. Then my hand went black, and I started using this crap, and I know I don't bleed that colour.
So it's actually coming out of your hand.
I see it coming out of my hand, I assume, is that right?
Yes, it's coming out of the fingers. You seem to have caused your nails to bleed.
Yes. You would have any divine...
I told you not to make a mess.
Look,
Divine health just makes him immune to disease, which it's the same for me.
Well, I'm immune to poison. Would that help at all? Or?
It's not a poison.
Cool. I thought just check this to make sure. And it's not necrotic, is it? Or
It's not necrotic, it's a disease.
disease? Damn it! Anything I'm not immune to. Damn it.
I can end the disease. I can cast Lesser Restoration on him.
Ah, okay. Go for it.
So what promise
Alright,
are you
well-
getting from him to do so?
What's that?
What promise are you requesting for you to do so?
Don't touch anything.
Gotcha. We'll listen to you.
Keep your hands to yourself.
That's fine. You sure I can't touch to retweet it? No, okay. No, that's okay. I'll stop it.
Did you say don't touch them? Actually, I told you guys. I told you before, didn't I? It's escalated. It's not just foreplay now.
Beware where you touch the wizard.
See? Crazy magic. I thought it was
it. So silly. Alright. I just point out that, like, you know, we're down here attempting to, you know, find a way to militarize the slaves, I guess, for want of a better explanation. And it seems like there might be some slight looting of the armory going on.
Just slight.
Perhaps you should leave these what are the names of these elves again?
Shadow elves.
Perhaps you should leave the shadow elf weapons to the shadow elves. Although having said that though, unfortunately I don't have detect good and evil. I've only got protection from good and evil.
Which protects you from creature types not actually good and evil.
I understand that, but I was just wondering whether there's a way that I could, even just like if I do a perception check or intuition or whatever, just to see whether I can kind of understand whether the weapons are like inherently evil. Because I have a real concern that they might be. But anyways, regardless of that, I do cast Lesser Restoration to attempt to remove that disease.
So while you're casting Lesser Restoration and watching the dwarves' nails fall out on that hand, you see that where those weapons are stacked, there's absolutely no moss in the room in that area.
Interesting.
No sign of dampness, no sign of any form of organic material.
I do have this sneaking suspicion that whilst these elves have been enslaved and slavery's bad, that there's something inherently kind of unnerving about these shadow elves, about their weapons, about them, and I'm not sure what to do about it in the short, medium, or long term, but I do voice that I have concerns that upon discovering these weapons that appear quite advanced, that if everything goes to plan but going to plan also causes us to create an army of 500 angry and well-trained, equipped angry slaves, that we might just create another problem that we have to deal with later on.
Who have apparently lived peacefully in this area for the last 500 years.
So, Jeremy, I will point out to you that Dimitri does remember the tales from Drachnomir and the Sylvan Realm. Mm-hmm. He would have heard about those tales.
Okay. Well, okay, but yeah, Dimitri's made, if Imperative is expressing his concerns and recommendations, Dimitri will make typically disparaging Dimitri comments about the idea of, yes, these guys that apparently peacefully for 500 plus years in this location, having been overwhelmed by the forces of Axantiotl and overwhelmed by Scatnels, who are followers of Axantiotl, and who are the ones that have imprisoned these to then go and capture and force the inappropriate actions of influential members of big families to ensure the war goes in ways that we would rather didn't go.
And
I'm thinking that at the very least, it's a lesser of evils involved.
And the one thing that Dimitri does remember of these items that you see around you, they're all missing the crystalline power source.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay.
And the other factor, of course, is that after we find out and recover the slaves and things like the missing family members, then Rheddrian himself will be very interested to actually know about confirmed existence of the Shadow Elves and of the technologies that they have available to them.
Mm-hmm.
But we can talk to them more later as to whether or not this is technology they've inherently earned, or whether it's technology they've subsequently found. Possibly
We
the
talked to
source of the
Drazel,
reasoning.
and somehow he's got
Possibly the source of the reasoning.
a message facility to Rheddrian.
Well, but there's not much to be done until we actually clear out the scat networks.
Right.
We can certainly deal with that in the future. But the other factor is, of course, it may well be, and it is not unlikely, that the influence of these weapons and this technology is a significant factor in why the elves refer to this location as the dead magic or the dead zones in that kind of sense. Which is obviously why the Shadow Elves have been able to maintain their hidden existence in Elfheim for all this time.
Okay.
Drazel does add, on top of that, saying the Elves of Shadow refuse to give up technology, which the Elves of Light condemns the world to destruction and want to destroy.
I lost the end of that, but okay, but yeah, Dimitri said yes, which is what, of course, caused the rift in the first place.
So the surface elves were anti-technology, and the shadow elves took the technology that the surface elves said no one should have.
But again,
okay.
it's all future problems, and right now, the most dangerous things about those weapons are idiots handling them without care. As Dimitri will do a prestidigitation to tidy up the black blood ooze that Bradshaw made a mess on the floor with.
Though you can quickly count, and you think that there's enough weapons to arm at least 150 to 200 soldiers.
Mm-hmm. And particularly also when, if the weapons are particularly powerful, one person is going to be equal to 10 scat elves if they're prepared and ready for it. So there is certainly a force that's available here, but as I said, from the Legion's perspective, it's been a force that they've had it all this time, and if the worst that they've done is some people have disappeared in the forest over the last several hundred years, then they were probably people that shouldn't have been where they want to be anyway. So, until, of course, Dimitri comes along, and he's obviously where he's supposed to be, and he'll investigate it later.
Okay. So you head out and try the next room?
Yep, okay, we'll keep looking at this stage.
Okay, so you find yourself going past finding yourself at a bend at a side passage in the corridor you're walking down, and you can see there are two doors there, and there's a door further on the main passage, and then the passageway bends to the right past that last door you see.
Okay.
And
And
you-
we've gone past the secret door that we came out of originally, have we not?
You have the armory is just after it, and you know that if you continue around the corner, you come to a set of stairs that leads up into the other side of the castle.
Yeah. Which obviously leads to another potential egress point, as Dirty first suggested. So we'll continue to look in the rooms as we head towards that stairwell. Also making consideration of exactly how big the rooms might be as to whether or not there's actually space to try and hold significant numbers, or again, as a space that a potential strong point holdout where we can go to sleep to if we need to, or spend time.
Well, you see that the area, the biggest room in the dungeons, is set up as a barracks. But the unfortunate thing about this barracks is all the beds seem to have bodies on them.
Okay.
And the reek of death.
What sort of bodies are they?
Bodies that aren't moving at all, as opposed to bodies that are asleep.
They are bodies that are not moving. Hard to tell what race they are. They look like they died over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So do we assume that maybe this is the military contingent of the Shadow Elves, and that I was somehow caught by surprise in this asleep, and this is how the other elves took over?
Well, or these are the third of the clan that got killed before they surrendered.
But given that they're in the beds, then they probably had some sort of shadow magic on them or something.
So there's about 100 bunk beds here, each with the dead on them. Some of them look as if they were trying to get up as they were slain.
Mm-hmm.
You even see a few broken weapons like the ones you found in the armory here.
Okay, so it looks like they caught by surprise and killed them in their sleep.
You do see some parts of the wall with scorch marks, unlike any you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Which you expect where they managed to use their weaponry before taken down.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was apparent that the Scat Elves managed to catch them by surprise, sleeping in here. Some woke up, but most were killed while they were still asleep. And obviously the resistance was quickly overcome. But then the Scat Elves basically just closed the door behind them and decided not to come in. Does it look like people haven't been in here much in the last 12 months?
Doesn't look like anyone's been in here since they murdered everyone. But there is a set of stairs leading up, which you were told leads into the upper barracks. So this is the lower barracks, and you think the same thing probably happened in the upper barracks. So whatever happened quickly here.
Yeah. Obviously, the stench is pretty annoying, but it's certainly not a place where we can expect the Scat Elves to be returning very often. And
Though there are 2 chambers off here you could also use.
okay. On the upper barracks, does the map seem to show what the upper barracks connects to?
The upper barracks is connected to the main gates as it leads into the open area between the castle wall and the gates and the rest of the castle. So the barracks were actually separate to everything else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Dementia would certainly like to go and have a look up those stairs just to make certain that the upper barrack is in the same stage as the lower, and confirm that it's not actually being used as a storage area for prisoners, with the obvious threat of what they can smell coming up from beneath them, to help maintain passivity.
Okay, climbing up in the stairs and going up, you actually see your first sign of what you think of as the Skadenhalven having fallen in combat up here, as it looks like a pitched battle happened in this room.
Yeah,
You think the ones below were killed first?
Yep. Well, yep. There's further interesting there is not only does the Scatten Elves not try and move the dead Shadow Elves, but they have not tried to recover their own dead.
From what you remember of them, they were not very reverent of the dead.
Yeah.
Because there were also people who did blood sacrifice, like the Azkans, and from what you heard of, the Tiger Tribe. They all share the same belief of Atzantioth.
Yeah. Is there any windows or dresses? Can you see out to see whether there's evidence of Scatten Elven patrols or guards leading out here?
Okay, outside you see some of the winged lizards that you remember from the Hollow World out there in the courtyard, visible from the barracks.
Like the small winged lizards that got eaten by the snakes. We managed to free them, the feather snakes.
No, the ones that the Skadenhalven would ride like giant birds.
Okay. I'm not getting, as a player, I'm not getting any picture of that.
So think of it as a giant bat, but not quite bat looking. Looking more like a...
Oh, actually no, we did come across those early on, that's right, yeah. And so, do they appear to be like an aviary of them? Or
they're using the open courtyard as a resting area, apparently.
Okay.
So that you can count at least 20 of them. So if you had to come to the castle above ground, there's a good chance they would have spotted you from above. These are silent flyers from memory.
Yep. But Dimitri would have spotted it, that's okay. Okay. Well, I would suggest that we keep determining the bottom half there, the basement area, just to confirm, but this is probably a good place to be coming up to. There are other exits going into the, aside from the courtyard to where the bats are.
So you can see that the upper barracks has 3 rooms, but they're all full of the dead. Outside, you can see the castle has a separate... sorry, trying to get the right word for it. Stables, because my brain couldn't remember the word stables until I saw it. And multiple doors leading into the actual castle itself. And you can see the gatehouse, and the gatehouse has what appears to be about 5 to 10 of the Skadenhalven blood elves on duty on each of the towers.
2 towers, okay?
You can see 4. You can see the shapes of 4 towers, but there's 2 towers on the inside and 2 on the outside,
right, okay,
and 2 sets of gates to get through.
Yep. Okay.
Very well defended place. This does look as if it had been repaired by the Shadow Elves in the time that they've been here.
Understandably. They did some renovation. We've already discussed that, so makes sense. They did do theirs as well. Okay. I would suggest we want to check out the rest of the basement area. Make certain there's no hidden surprises down there. And then the stairway at the end, we leading up into the castle proper. Do we know what that leads into, or expected to lead into?
You believe it is where it's the quartermaster's room, where the non-food supplies are stored.
Mm-hmm.
I will give you an insight roll while you're thinking your way through things.
Insight plus 6, I think, which would be a total of 9.
Nothing's leaping out to you as you're thinking your way through stuff.
All good.
You're saying that I've got a better inside check than you. I'm really scared about this Dimitri. Just as a player to play here, not a character.
Insight's not his strong point.
Oh, yeah, 25.
You'd have a feeling that if they were to have the crystals that power their weapons, they would either be stored in the treasury or the Blood Elves went out of their way to destroy them.
Alright. I'll go to the treasury.
Well, we haven't got to the treasury yet. And if you go straight there, you're likely to run across a few blood elves all the way.
And that was one of the few areas marked as locked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Surely the naughty elves wouldn't have kept the crystals. Like, you think they'd know what they were and just have destroyed them.
The colloquial name is soul crystals for the crystals that power the attack of the shadow elves. As they're expected to be the souls of those the shadow elves have taken.
And the scanning elves are certainly different level of technology than the blood elves, sorry, the shadow elves. And so they may well look at them as being, ooh, pretties. Unless they manage to get enough of the battle where the weapons were used to potentially understand a bit of how they were going about, what was going on. But from what we saw of in the armory, they may not have made connection and actually combined the two elements or two aspects.
That's true.
And obviously, yeah, location here at the upper barrack becomes a spot where, well, obviously the closest the Satin elves actually come to this one would be feeding their backs in their
In the open.
belfry. That's what I was the back of the belfry, but no, so I guess in effectively their stabling area of the bats on the outside. So
Yep. And there's also a room up there that has no outside windows, so you could use it as a resting place.
exactly right. So basically, the adjoining rooms certainly a place where we can hide whenever we need to.
Did we free one of the elves or both those elves and bring them with us? Or they're still up there in the kitchen? Okay.
Certainly Dimitri didn't go that way, that's for sure.
I'm not suggesting this because this isn't the sort of thing that I would suggest, if you know what I mean. However, should we investigate as to whether the food that I can't forget what the name is, so I'm referring to the shadow elves and the naughty elves. Do they eat the same food? That's what we need to discover. Like, is the food that's prepared for the slaves the same that's prepared for the occupying force?
Well, I'm sure we can arrange that even if it would normally be the same, which is unlikely. I suspect that the Satin elves would not likely treat their prisoners to the same food and meals that they allow, that they force the Satin elves, the shadow elves to make for them. So, yes. Obviously, the opportunity to poison a lot of them is...
Oh, look, I mean, I didn't say that, just to be clear.
Well, it was an obvious tactic.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm glad you brought it up before
Well, it didn't,
anyone else had to.
it didn't need to be brought up because obviously that was already considered as soon as we found out they had slaves working in the kitchen.
Oh, I'm glad that our collective consciousness, we all sort of we knew that. We all knew that. We all knew that.
Considering you're facing, so the blood elves, the bad elves, are demon worshippers. As far as all the other religions are concerned, knowing that they follow Azanthiotl is basically saying they follow one of the most powerful corrupted demons out there.
Interesting. So they're literally really quite naughty.
In the modern world, they would literally be followers of the devil.
Dark Elves.
As close to this setting as it has for Dark Elves are these days.
Yes.
Well,
But yeah, so that was already assumed, but the intent was to ensure that we couldn't actually make that happen until, as we said, we ensured the safety and security of the children of the clans.
let's see.
Please try to keep up.
Okay.
Well, hey, as the elven children take over 100 years to grow to adulthood, that would explain why they would be quite cowed by the threat of harm to their children.
And obviously they got caught by surprise anyway, so it was saying the fact that they lost a lot of their warrior personnel early on, and then, the children being under threat means that they can't actually retaliate or respond or start poisoning the food. As they're given plenty of opportunities to do themselves.
Yeah, they just don't have any poison though, right?
Did you see those guns?
I did, but I'm not sure that they're allowed to go down into the
You
dungeons.
see the effect on the Bradshaw's fingers?
I did see that effect, but I might point out that they're not allowed to go down there. I'm sure that it seems to me that in order for some sort of poisoning thing to eventuate you, we're going to have to supply them with something to poison them. Like, I'm not sure that you can just grind the guns up into poison and sprinkle it on their ice cream or whatever. I'm not sure that that's an option. I think that I'm hoping that someone in the party is like a herbalist or
I would think that it would be foolish to consider that the Shadow Elves in their own castle would not have been able to get access to those weapons if they thought it was going to be valuable for them to do so.
Bradshaw's going to have a comment right now. But these are elves. All elves are diseased and poisoned in some way. So therefore, wouldn't they just, kill themselves in some sort of incidents based on they got blood from each other? That's my comment.
I don't know where that's coming from, but it's
I know. I'm just coming out of random because I'm just sitting here listening to this. Something.
I'm just double checking. Is Dimitri suggesting that the slaves are just able to wander around freely and go down to the dungeon and fiddle around with their advanced technological weapons whilst they're enslaved?
they're in chains, so they can't move.
That's what I mean. I'm really confused.
Did you look at those chains?
I didn't take a good look at them.
Did you really think it was the chains that were holding them still?
I mean, I assume that they're just not allowed to wander around.
And in the time that we were in the kitchens, talking, chatting, how long would it take to walk down that corridor to get to that armory, the unlocked armory, and be back again?
Less than a minute.
And how often did Pat Nell come into the kitchen during that period of time?
I honestly don't know how long. I don't know how long we've been here, but I'm still.
It would be easy to say that it would be certainly less than 5 minutes to get from the kitchen down to the armory and back again. And
Anyway, I just
Since
wanted
I've
to.
got a halfling background, I don't think the anti-technology applies to me. But
You were never brought up with it.
Yeah.
And obviously, in your particular case, well, you might be concerned about technology generally, but you being specifically tasked by Rheddrians to actually try and chase it down. So,
Yeah.
Which is a benefit for your character, because if you were brought up in Alfheim, you would want to destroy things instead of report on it.
Okay.
Rheddrian would send you off on different tasks. But yes, Dimitri certainly aimed to make it clear that the Shadow Elves have had ample opportunity to retaliate, including poisoning the Scat Elves.
So what you're saying is they're lazy. They're lazy elves.
They have been cowed by the fact that their children are the first ones who would suffer as soon as a single Scat Elf started to cough up blood. They'd all be wiped out.
That's why I get all the cough up blood at the exact same time.
Yeah, as Bradshaw speaks up to, I'm not a knowledgeable person at poisons here, but considering all else hate dwarves.
I told you, you're not knowledgeable on something, okay?
No, sorry, Dimitri. So, if all else hate dwarves, this is Bradshaw's theory, what if I
hate halflings?
Well, I don't hate halflings, I don't hate gnomes. I'm a different dwarf, okay? So, I have my reasons. It's called Murderous Wife and Family in my new clan. But, consider elves hate dwarves. Is that pretty much a common thing?
It's a well-known fact that the surface elves hate the dwarves, but you're starting to learn that it's because dwarves are technologically focused and about advancement, which the elves have been forbidden to do.
And of course, use the term elves is a bit generic.
Yeah, no, but Bradshaw
We're
doesn't.
building right now with two different types of elves that obviously help each other.
But if we spike all the drinks from dwarven beer, well, that means they'll get all sick, and then we can sort this all out. And then Bradshaw's just thinking out of the box here, considering that he's heard nothing yet that's making any sense to him. So, or do we just go for a fight? I'm happy with the fight idea. So, but I'm just thinking that considering
You want to take 200 on the left while Peregrine takes 200 on the right?
Well, I'm immune to diseases and poisons, so
I'm poisons, so and I'm resistant to healing and
We all saw the resistance you put up against the poison from weapons.
that's not a poison, that was something non-poison. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking, we want to get rid of the bad elves, but what do we classify as bad elves, considering, and like I said, I like certain elves, maybe one elf, And another elf, thank you, Colonel. But I'm just trying to think, what are we here to gain? Like, if we let them attack each other, they might kill each other, but they're not going to do that. But even if we let them all go and get access to whatever weaponry they might have here, or do we...
The point is, they are not being held by the chains.
But we were here to save other people, not the elves, aren't we?
Exactly.
We need
We
to find
haven't
other
found
people.
yet. Which
Well,
is
let's
why
just
they
kill people till we find them and get out of here. Isn't that a simple way of doing this? I think it kind of complicates too much here, Dimitri.
Oh, we're just killing everyone. We're just
We
killing
kill the
someone.
people, we find the people we need to do.
Doesn't matter who start killing.
Well, it's only 200 elves, which isn't too much here.
Well, 200 for you.
Oh yeah, that's trying to make it. I know you're going to do 30
And
or
we
40.
all saw you attack on the ghouls. You could barely take
Yeah,
one.
one will drop, didn't you? I protected you, by the way, just remember that.
Barely killed, got 4 of them.
I got more than 4, thank you. I think your final was in the double digits at least, thank you.
Alright, is there a bed or a hole where I can jump into it again?
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I just feel that Dimitri just kind of makes up these crazy ideas that never work, and I'm just trying to think of another idea, that's all. Okay, well, if you guys want to do what you want to do, we'll do it.
Hey, he doesn't always make up crazy ideas that don't work. Sometimes he just steals crazy ideas that don't work from everyone else
Oh
around.
yeah, he does a lot of stealing, he does a lot of stealing.
Okay, so
Go do it. Go forth and conquer. Like I said, if Bradshaw takes 200 to the left and Heritage takes 200 to the right, we'll be all fine, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're still in the rescue mission, so I think the sooner we get the rescue people out,
Okay, we should potentially find business before we activate the alarm.
well, I think we should.
So what
So
form
glad
is
you came
the
around.
alarm?
Alright?
What form is the alarm?
Well, in the sense that as soon as these getting elves turn up dead, I believe the alarm's likely raised.
Razzle does point out that there are no active technological items of the Shadow Elves around. Assume that the Blood Elves have all the active technological items on them.
But that won't matter to me, Bradshaw, because magic doesn't exist, does it?
100%. No, that's all bullshit.
He says it's not.
You're fine.
He patched Bradshaw on the shoulder and says, "Not magic, technology, different."
Oh,
Okay.
but doesn't magic create technology?
Point towards your fingers.
No, I'm going back to Dr. Rosie here. I'm going to clarify this. Doesn't magic create technology?
Says no, magic and technology rarely work together.
Well, okay, I can live with that.
Dwarves create technology. This is beyond what dwarves create.
Yeah, I can understand that too. But still,
Elves saw technology break the world, so said technology bad.
that's fair call. Do we know what section of the castle these people are, Dr. Dressel? Or unsure?
He does not know, but where you find the technology, you'll most likely find the captives.
Okay. Okay. I think so. We had a couple of locked doors, is that correct? Before we pulled away.
There are a couple of locked doors down in the basement that you didn't reach, which was the treasury.
Okay.
Alright. I'll use my thieves tools to try to pick the lock.
Okay. Heading down there, give me your tool check.
23.
Okay, so you managed to just get it open. It was a tough one. And as you unlock it, you hear a beeping sound and the door slides into the wall.
Is that a good thing?
You're not sure. This is not a door you're used to opening.
Apparently the entranceway is now open. The beeping We were discussing alarm being set off earlier, but
And you get a sort of sickly green glow coming from inside the room, which is quite large.
Well, I'm immune to disease and poison, so I'll proceed.
Yeah, I'll let you proceed. I thought about going in front of you, but I thought, no, you need to learn lessons. Opening doors and setting off strange sounds are not good things.
Okay.
But I think it's a learning experience, and I believe that I'll save you at the end. It's a learning experience.
So the room is mostly empty except for on the far wall from the door, thousands of little nail-sized crystals.
Right. Okay.
And you can feel the warmth of the crystals just by coming near it. So much so that you can actually see parts of your skin blister.
Well, I'll back off. And is there a way to get those into the bag of holding? Or is it a bit risky?
From what you've witnessed with Bradshaw, you don't think the magic will take the technology. The gods have forbidden it since the technology killed some of them.
Okay. So what's the the minimum distance for which I can not get damaged?
Well, at 10 feet you feel the effects. So about 15 feet, you're sure if you stand there long enough, the effects will get you. That's how quickly you want the effects to hit you, is how close you get.
So somehow we need to transport all of these, or we can bring them down to just
you've
load
got
up
the
the guns.
creatures being kept in here right now, so potentially get out while you're still alive.
Alright, I'll get out. I'll chock the door so it can't slam shut.
Well, you're not exactly sure how to affect the door, as you can't actually see it anymore. It literally slid into the wall.
Okay.
So again, we were aiming to avoid the evidence in our passage.
But these are tantalisingly close. Whatever.
But what were you planning on achieving with them?
That we can use those to charge up the guns.
Yep. And you were then planning on?
Handing them out to the Shadow Elves.
But we haven't found the kids yet. As we said, the Shadow Elves could have revolted at any time.
Alright.
Me too will try to have a look at the mechanism. Okay, it looked like Carl was playing with the door itself when he unlocked it, wasn't it, didn't he?
The lock is actually in the wall beside the door.
Yeah. I mean, sure if you can have it manipulate the lock or the control or something to try and close the door.
Okay. Give me a engineering check.
Got him.
Okay, as you manipulate it, you hear a beeping sound and the door slides shut fast enough you'd think to cut someone in two.
I'm fairly certain Bradshaw was out at the time, wasn't it?
I don't believe Bradshaw went in.
No, Bradshaw wasn't silly. Yeah. I was possibly going to look at one of the other locked doors, but...
Well, the other locked door leads to the same room.
Okay. And the Shadow Elves, they didn't give us any idea where the kids might have been held or anything?
They weren't told because if they don't know, it's hard for them to rescue them.
No, that's a fair call as well. So if the locked doors go both to the same place, we don't need to go in there because there's something there that would help us right now.
So effectively we've looked at all basement doors.
You looked at all the. You looked at most of the basement rooms. You've got 2 rooms you haven't looked at.
Okay.
I'll pick one.
Basically, we'll look at the 2 rooms, assuming they're not like depending on what you mark on the map of them being, but assuming they're more storerooms or equivalent.
Well, the first one you open has a fireplace crackling in it. And as you look at it, it seems to be set up as an office bedroom.
Currently occupied?
No one in there at the moment, but there is a lantern flickering hanging above a table. On the table seems to be 2 of the Shadow Elf weapons in slightly disassembled.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, I have a quick look into see if there's notes or things like that that have been taken on the weapons.
It does have a scroll nearby that is noting that these are quite powerful ranged weapons, able to cut through most armor.
Mm-hmm.
Not actually seeing any armor withstand it except for stone.
Okay.
But notes down that powered by soul crystals, which the blood elves are reluctant to touch based on their beliefs.
Yeah. Well, and unlike certain dwarves and elves, they're more sensible.
So it does note down that the blood elves fear that by touching a crystal they will lose their soul to it.
Mm-hmm.
Did I take any damage from the crystal?
Just superficial.
Okay.
You got a bad sunburn.
Enough so you realise before taking actual damage to stop.
Well, okay. So the intent is not to spend too much time in this location, in this particular room, because obviously it is occupied and with the lantern burning, potentially, someone could return at any moment. So a quick look in the next door.
And the last one that you hadn't been in before appears to have the door to it has been skillfully cut open from the other side.
Uh-huh.
And you can see a tunnel into it from below. Looks as if here is where they came into the castle.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And faint wisps of sulfur coming from here as well.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, yes, the exit point that the Shadow Elves used, and sorry, the Cat Elf used, and potentially involving some demonic summoning and or conjuring as part of the process.
You also get fragrances from memory that reminds you of the Hollow World coming from out of that passage.
Yeah, hi. You're getting too many memories of the Hollow World because the Scandal being here. Okay.
Because you do know they have the magic to shorten distances.
Yeah. Yes.
You might only be a couple of steps away from the Hollow World going down that hole.
Yep, Demetrius going to the calculation. Damn it, and another bloody entrance. We'll go quietly and sneakily up the staircase.
Yep.
And
into the barracks or into the quartermaster's area?
Like for the quartermaster's area.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, yeah, if there's a door at the top of the stairs type stuff, or
there's quite a few. You're told that there's lots of rooms in this section. It's near where they said that the elves may be, the children may be. They expect the children to be at the far end of the castle because it's the largest room in the building.
Yeah. Which is going to say why, to Demetrius at least, he's aiming to go more stealthily now, because we're more likely to come against competition, that we'd rather not alert and rather not engage, if we can avoid it. But hopefully we'll be able to confirm the location of the kids and potentially the other prisoners or the other kidnappees. And make an assessment on how well they're guarded and how well they can be free.
Okay, so having a quick look in that really long room that is almost the length of the castle, you see what appears to be hundreds of kids with glowing metal bands around their necks, hanging from the wall by the band.
Okay.
You have actually heard of a magical item known as the slave collar.
I've heard like that seemingly the collars were magical or technological.
And there is a master ring that can sever the heads of all connected collars.
Yes. But we're not seeing any evidence of scat elves in this corridor.
You see lots of, well, in that room, in the corridor, none, and in the room with all the kids, you see probably about 100 of the shadow elves trying to tend and feed them.
Yeah. But no scat elves.
None of the scat elves, no.
Okay.
You don't think they need to be here?
No.
You know, it's not far from the main throne room, which you'd expect that either be there or in the upper part of the castle where the better conditions are, because the Shadow Elves most likely had renovated that to their liking more.
Yeah.
Is there a way that the Paladin can cast the spell magic and then just walk into the corridor and just smash the collars?
Yes, but you'd have to cast it on each collar. Or on the Master Ring.
But if it was just on the shield and he just walks down there,
then his shield would be non-magical.
Yeah.
It's not an anti-magic field. The spell magic is a target and forget, because it is an instantaneous spell.
Okay, sorry.
It has no duration. But what you're talking about is anti-magic field, which if you could do it, I would say would totally solve that problem.
Yeah.
So
Although even then,
right idea, wrong spell.
it also the fact that the strength of anti-magic fields may be more or less effective against, they can be more or less effective on permanent they try them anyway. So.
Normally they shut it down while it's in the field, at which point you can break, destroy, or modify the item as long as you're not using magic yourself.
Okay. Dimitri will try and quietly grab the attention of one of the closer shadow elves who is trying to tend the children, encouraging quiet and deceit as part of his explanation and peace, and asking them to come a bit closer and available to talk. Or encourage them to find a space where we're less likely to be distracted by a scat elf for a few minutes.
Okay, he leaves the room and takes you into what appears to be an office. That doesn't look like it's been used in a while. But he does have a map of the castle on the wall.
Dimitri also pull out the map that the kitchen staff provided and explain the fact that we contacted those personnel and they explained the situation somewhat. Does this elf have his son?
He does not.
Does not? Okay. And explain that yes, the intent is to ensure the safety of the children and any other prisoners. Are you aware of any other prisoners in this location where they're building?
He points up.
He points up, did you say?
Yep. Then goes over to the map and touches what appears to be a screen. What you thought was a map, and the map expands to show you a room with a view. You see what looks to be 10 people chained up and hooded, each with the collars around their necks.
And it's obviously the hood, so we can't tell what race or...
And the hood's on the outside of the hood is underneath the collar.
Yeah. What about the clothing they're wearing?
Most of the clothing looks to be elvish style design, but not necessarily worn by elves, because either it's really young elves, as in elves less than 50 years of age, so about the equivalent of a 10-year-old.
But more likely the idea of Darrican gentry, or the youth of Darrican gentry trying to pretend what they think is good fashion.
You would expect it to be along those lines, yes. You have seen people in Darrican City wearing that, but that sort of person would have been quite well off. You're thinking Merchant Prince's family.
Yeah.
And if someone could compel the Merchant Prince, that could pretty much throw the war in favour of whoever they're compelling them towards.
Yeah, that's what we were coming here to do, to prevent. Dimitri's part of the first book to you. Whoa. the map turned into a ruin real time.
Go, Mark.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the ring, if we have the ring, we could disable all the devices. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
If we have the master ring, we can.
But we also got to make sure we get the master ring without him triggering the ring as well.
He's potentially a dead man switch, only he doesn't need to be the dead man.
Well,
Everybody else is eligible.
He would be the perfect target of a Dispel Magic if you can get it before you get activated.
Okay. I'm going to just suggest some guys, because I might head off soon to die. Maybe we pick up this in a fortnight.
I think it'll be done before that. But yeah, one thing Dimitri was going to do as part of the effectively the planning process is try and talk to this elf and go, hang on, if you're showing me an image of the prisoners, can you show me the Scat Elf rulers, the Santo Galleon and Maynard Lafaro?
Okay, so he shrinks that image down so it returns to the normal map, and then clicks on what you were told was the throne room, and it opened up to show you the two dark-skinned elves with filed teeth having a conversation, and you start seeing words appear on the screen as they're discussing whether or not they will be implementing Phase 2 of their plan. And that they've managed to track down where the shard they need for Phase 2 is. They're just going to head off there in the once they've scouted the area.
Okay. And are there any other Cat elves in the throne room at the present time?
Besides those two, you see what looks like suits of armor, except that they've got currently reading 0 charge on the screen. So there's 12 sets of armor around the room. You don't see any other armed guards.
Okay. Dimitri, obviously, his first impression would have been, oh yeah, suits of armor decorating throne room is not uncommon. But the fact that there's some sort of symbolism or markings on them, it marks the shadow elf. Does that indicate a threat? Problem? Will they react if we try and attack the Kanto and Maynard?
He touches the screen and you see words start appearing on there. Armor can be activated to assist once children are safe.
Oh yeah, no, but the Scatnel cannot activate the armor.
Scandinavian have no knowledge of how to activate or control technology.
No, that's the conflict. So, seemingly, right now there's only 2 of them in that location. Can we see any images or information of surrounding rooms or corridors of the throne room? Get an idea of how long it might take Scatnel to respond?
He shrinks the map down again and starts hitting some other buttons, and you see dots start appearing across the screen, and you see little text writing start to appear saying Blood Elf, and you see that there's only 20 all up in the castle. And then he hits another button and you see brown dots start popping up all over the place, and these come up as mercenaries. There's about 20 to 50 of those, hard to tell because they sort of flicker in and out.
Okay. So in fact, the 20 or so bats that we saw are possibly representative of all the Scatnel having their own bats.
Yep, that's what you think.
Yep. Well, I'm thinking as a player at this point, yep, okay, we've certainly got the information we need to plan an assault, a quick assault upon the throne room. in the immediate future, but I'm thinking that would be a good opening to the next session.
That would. So
Do you
we'll.
have any other ideas or processes? Because obviously we've got technically, you've got the time now and the information available to do any planning that you want to do. And we'll be able to find and achieve the goals.
I believe Dominic's headphones have died, and he says sounds good to him.
Yep. I just got to get on the cabinet, so, and that way Dominic can be more involved in the fight next session.
That would work well.
All good, guys. Well, thanks for knowing for your help now. Also.
Go rest up. I'll see everyone in a fortnight.
I'll do, and we'll get ready for battle.
And
Battle. It'll be over before the start, because obviously, while we complete the plan, it'll be no whatsoever.
well, at least it'll give you a chance to prepare for what you now realise would be the mass slaughter of most of the castle if you had attacked the wrong people first.
You got to remember the link. That's not necessarily how to press it anyway.
Now you've got a chance.
We'll plan to stop the activation of the ring, but hey, something goes wrong. Don't let it be too much.
Okay, well, good night, everyone.
Have a good night. We'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time or next week.
All good.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Martin. Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye for now.